Las Vegas. It is time for the 2019 Barbasol PBA Tour Finals. 8 of the world's best bowlers are here for 5 TV shows over 2 days. When it's all over, one bowler will have a PBA Tour title and big prize money. Our field of 8 is divided into 2 groups. Today we'll have qualifying rounds 1 and 2 with 2 pair of lanes in play, simultaneous bowling, and all there'll be 4 games of qualifying on this show. Group 1 includes the last 2 PBA Tour Finals champions Jason Belmonte and E.J. Tackett, in addition to PBA playoff winner Chris Prather and 10-time champ Bill O'Neill. Group 2 features young Jacob Buttrup, 25 years old already, a 7-time winner on tour, 2-time major champ Anthony Simonson, reigning player of the year Andrew Anderson, and PBA star Marshall Kent. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. Great to have you with us on CBS Sports Network for the PBA Tour Finals. Dave Ryan alongside Randy Peterson, Hall of Famer, also joined throughout the weekend by another Hall of Famer in Chris Barnes. RP, we're back together again, my friend, after a whole year off for the PBA Tour Finals.
Yeah, after a whole year. I live 45 minutes from you, and I see you once a year.
It's not nearly enough. Golf next week, okay?
You got it.
What a challenging event here, and a great field of bowlers as we've got qualifying for a couple of shows leading into step ladder finals tomorrow night.
Well, it's a great tournament, a great event for a number of reasons. It's the top 8 of the world's best over the last 2 seasons. The format is also unique. We have 2 groups of 4 bowlers. They'll bowl 4 games of qualifying. We'll break off into step ladder finals until we come down to the winner of each group, and then those 2 will square off. Group 1, got some exciting action for you, starting with E.J. Tackett, who won this event back in 2017. The guy he beat, well, the world's #1, Jason Belmonte. The very next year, that man right there beat E.J. Tackett. The defending champion looks to capture another one of these Tour Final titles. Chris Prather and Bill O'Neill round out the other 2 players in our foursome to start things off. Prather and O'Neill, what a battle they had in the inaugural PBA playoffs. Prather winning a cool $100,000.
Well, Chris Barnes knows a thing or two about winning some big events. 19-time tour titleist and a Hall of Famer. Chris, great to have you with us this year in Vegas.
Nothing better than getting to see the best of the best as these guys have all earned their way here over the last 2 years. We all know about Jason Belmonte, Mr. Universe, and annual runner-up E.J. Tackett. Chris Prather winning the playoffs, but I think my favorite for this early round match is going to be maybe what I think is the hottest guy on tour, Bill O'Neill. His ability to play a little further right on this Mark Roth pattern early, I think will serve him well.
All right, CB, we'll keep a very close eye on that. We can't wait. When we come back, it is Game 1, Group 1. The qualifying begins. Belmonte, Tackett, Prather, O'Neill will kick off the 2019 PBA Tour Finals next. It was open April 18, 2006, the Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa. Spectacular facility on 59 acres in the Las Vegas Valley. Home again to PBA bowling. Now, Mike Jakubowski, our event MC, for player introductions today.
And defending PBA Tour Finals champion, 3-time Tournament of Champions winner. Winning this season's PBA World Championship, he became the first bowler in PBA history to win his 11th career major, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Belmonte. Making his 3rd consecutive PBA Tour Finals appearance. He has been in the championship match in each of the past 2 years, winning the title in 2017 and finishing 2nd last year. The 2013 PBA Rookie of the Year and 2016 PBA Player of the Year continued his winning ways by winning the PBA Bear Open for his 3rd title of 2018. Welcome, E.J. Tackett. Since he left Wichita State University, he has had 7 top 5 finishes over the past 2 seasons, including a 3rd in the 2018 U.S. Open. He finally broke through into the winner's circle at this year's PBA Scorpion Championship, the winner of the largest PBA first prize check in more than 7 years at the PBA playoffs, Chris Prather. With a victory in the 2019 Hall of Fame Classic, he became title eligible for the PBA Hall of Fame. The 2005-06 PBA Rookie of the Year and U.S. Open winner, is one of the hottest players on tour, Bill O'Neill.
We are bowling once again on the Mark Roth 42-foot oil pattern. From last week, though, they're going to play significantly different, a lot slicker, so the players that like it go straight are going to go straighter. Watch for Belmonte to hook it. And Jacob Buttroff, who we'll see a little bit later, he has the left side of the lane to himself.
Group 1 qualifying game 1. Lanes 5 and 6 for Belmo and EJ. And Prather and Bill O'Neill on lanes 7 and 8 to get us going. A year ago in Allen Park, Michigan, outside Detroit, 4 PBA lane condition patterns, 36, 42, 39, 45. This year, just the 42-foot Mark Roth for the entire event. Underway, 2019 PBA Tour Finals with Belmo. Not the start he wanted, the 7-10 dreaded split.
Yeah. Interesting. I saw him leave one of those just a couple of days ago in Portland, Maine.
Chris Prather, speaking of greatness in Portland, Maine. Playoffs winner, PBA League champ, had his shirt yesterday in our meetings after winning the PBA League about 24 hours earlier. Not much time.
Yeah, no,
7-pin, leads the 10, early open.
we got done with those shows, and we got done late, and then got about 2 hours sleep. Hopped on a 5:30 a.m. flight to fly to Vegas to cover the tour finals here. So it was a pretty quick turnaround for a lot of staff and a lot of players.
Everyone doing such a great job hustling all the way across the country to get it set up here in Vegas. Here's EJ Tackett, outside Indianapolis. Former Player of the Year. Big star on tour. Good start for EJ.
Hey, and I really want to thank you, Dave, for sending the private jet for us. That was great.
If I only could have done it, I would have. Everyone made it safely, no problem. Good night's sleep, ready to go here for Bill O'Neill. Outside Philly. Wow. All 10 back.
Yeah, Chris Barnes really nailed it with Bill O'Neill. He's been bowling as well as anyone in the last month or so.
12 titles, 2 majors. EJ Tackett, 2016 Player of the Year. O'Neill is the 8th seed. So we'll see if Chris and Randy were prophetic at the time of the broadcast talking about Bill and his chances here.
Just a little,
Qualifying is underway.
sorry, Dave, just a little bit light on that shot, but not bad. Now here's a guy who hit the pocket in the first frame, and he's coming off of an open.
That's a bit better for the two-hander from down under.
And just as I expected, he's going to really curve it a lot, and the other players are going to go a little bit straighter. EJ's going to be somewhere in between Bill O'Neill, and Prather's going to be kind of close to what EJ's doing, but this man's going to curve the whole lane.
All right, Chris, your early impressions just underway here with Group 1 qualifying Game 1.
Well, every player, to a man, has had the left lanes tighter on both pairs. And then Jason Belmonte is using a lower pin ball in the left lane and a taller one on the right lane. I'm not sure that's going to last a whole lot longer. He keeps leaving these 7-10s.
Almost had another one, CB, didn't he? How about that? Some drama across the deck to the 10. Back to Chris Prather. Wow. Locked in early. A young star from just outside Chicago. He and his wife have a contract to build a new house. That's what happens when you win the playoffs. And 6 figures, right? Here's that 7-pin for Belmo.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't win 6 figures ever.
You've done plenty of winning in your career, Mr. Hall of Famer.
That was so long ago, Dave. It was like, I think all the TVs were in black and white. Needs to hook. Hooked in.
Wow. 5C Chris Prather.
Ripped back for another ring 10, though, for Chris. Back-to-back ring 10s on that left lane. Now E.J. Tackett, perfect. Through 2.
EJ trying to get back in the winner's circle again after a great 2018. We won the first PBA Tour Finals we had for you from Orlando in 2017 on CBS Sports Network. Back to Prater. There's a 10-pin.
And folks, remember, it's 4 games, total pins, and that will determine the seeding for a 4-player stepladder finals.
And Randy, I love the crowd involvement here in Vegas. The atmosphere is a lot of fun. CJ's resume, part of it. There's a late hit on the 10-pin. E.J. Tackett's off to a great start. Appearing in the bowler on our show and shows throughout the weekend here in Vegas. Roll a perfect game. Everyone in America can receive a free game of bowling courtesy of Go Bowling. That's amazing. To claim your free game, simply head to GoBowling.com and register for the Go Bowling Free America promotion. Pretty cool. You gotta watch. You gotta log in.
Well, Chris Barnes said that the left lanes look to be a little bit tighter, and we see that already with Jason Belmonte's pin carry, the pocket 710, and he almost left it again on the 3rd. That's been on the left lane. Strikes on the right. O'Neal, a little bit softer speed.
For frame,
Oh,
O'Neal,
my.
late hit on the 10.
He should have flexed after that one. Head pin came across and just slammed the 10. Watch this. Head pin, sidewall, into the 10. 10 pin goes to the blue tent.
He's kind of a subdued dude, right? And that's not really his style to flex.
Concussion.
That's your style to flex.
Blue tent, concussion protocol. Yeah.
Watch out.
He tried to get a little bit softer and try to get the ball to finish a little bit steeper into the pocket, and that's the result. A little too slow, and inside goes through the nose.
One underway. Belmonte, Tackett, Prather, O'Neal. Prather. Wow. All 10 back.
Just crushing the 10 on the right lane.
He is locked in early. Belmo's been doing a little guessing and fishing here to begin game 1. 6-10. Got that.
Jason's wife, Kimberly, flew all the way out from Australia to be here. Interesting story about her travels.
It's never easy.
We'll get
coming
there
from
in
that far away.
We'll get there the next time he's up.
Chris Prather off that big $100,000 check in the playoffs in Maine. Chris has Belmo.
Yeah, I'm here with Jason. Jason, what's going on that left lane for you?
Yeah, it's a little tighter down the lane, so the first few shots I was probably a little too soft with it off my hand. That last one, I really wanted to make sure I got around it and hit it a bit harder, and never gave the ball a chance to get to the outside part of the lane. So, I actually want to move a little further right, but with half the game left to go, I feel good on the right lane. Just need to make a couple of better shots in the left lane.
2 different balls, right? Pin down the left lane, pin up on the right lane.
That's
You thinking
right.
about using the pin up ball on the left lane?
There was a part of me that was thinking about that, yeah. Especially now that you're saying it. I mean, if you're saying that, maybe I should. I think I'm going to give the pin down one more crack at it. I feel like I just haven't made a good enough shot yet. So once I do that, we'll see what happens.
A little look inside the mind of the world's #1 player.
A split for Tackett there, Chris. Thanks for that. Great access. We've never had the player interviews live until this year, so much appreciation for everyone on the PBA Tour to allow us to talk to the players. As things develop, we wondered about how Belmo was doing, and we heard from the man himself.
You want me to explain to you what he meant by pin up, pin down?
Go right ahead.
Right, so the pin is nice. Way to go, EJ.
What a conversion on the split by E.J. Tackett.
So basically the pin is that little round dot that you'll see on these bowling balls, and it's the locator for the center of the weight block. Well, if you put that pin above the finger holes, it's going to create a little bit more length in terms of ball reaction. If you put it below the fingers, it's going to make the ball roll a little bit sooner. And so he was using the pin down ball on the tighter lane, which makes perfect sense. Shot there by Bill O'Neal. Pin up ball on the lane that hooks a little bit more. Now he might use the same ball on both lanes, Dave.
Love it. Belmo, wife Kimberly, Bill O'Neal, The stars are out in Vegas on the PBA Tour here today. Weekdays at noon Eastern, step into the jungle as Jim Rome unleashes his takes on the toughest topics in sports. It's always smack-off season for the Jim Rome Show right here on CBS Sports Network. Time now, Randy, for the Hammer Tough Spare replay. It's EJ Tackett early on here today.
Well, this is how you draw it up. EJ, a little bit different attempt, and he starts to the left side of the lane, but he still slings the 2 right over into the 10 perfectly.
DJ had the front 5. A great start. Chris Prather, O'Neal, EJ Tackett, Belmonte. Underway, Group 1 in Game 1 of qualifying. 2 4-player groups of the PBA Tour Finals. Group 2, Buttriff, Simonson, Anderson, and Marshall Kent. Belmo. 9-pin.
Well, he hasn't figured it out yet. Actually, only one bad shot, but his pin carry is not very good, and that was the lane he was perfect on. And Belmonte still looking for his first double, as is Chris Prather.
Across the deck. Spinning. Helicopters does not take out the 10.
Chris does not look happy. He looks irritated. He just doesn't look like himself. Again, remember what you could be 4th after the 4 games of qualifying and then climb the ladder and still bowl for this title.
It's a long grind. That's all live for you this year for the first time on CBS Sports Network. All the way through the 3rd and final show tomorrow, 5th show total, and that will determine the PBA Tour Finals champ. It does count as a tour title, big prize money. Jason Belmonte, what a season. 4 more titles. Wow, across the deck again, and somehow does not tap the 10.
So one thing that slows him down when he hits the pocket, because he does hit the pocket so much, typically his carry percentage is very high. Except in this game, game 1. Terrible pin carry. I think it's just too much angle. I'm going to ask Chris Barnes about that in a second.
Prather. That's better. We'll see if his demeanor improves. Here's Belmo. Watch out! A whiff on the 10-pin. A rarity for the world's best. Back to Chris with Chris.
I'm here with Chris Prather. You've had pretty good reaction to the pocket. What's going on out there for you? What did you just change?
Well, I was trying to be a little bit more aggressive with my hand at the bottom to get that bigger ASIM and the halo vision to get through the pins, and it's just not wanting to do it. So I'm going to go to a little cleaner cover, symmetrical core in the Idol Pro, and roll it a little bit more to get it to just control the pocket and try to get those 10s out. Because the one that I was trying to be aggressive with, I missed left in 3, 6, 9, 10, and it just wasn't a good shot. So, you know, we got a couple more games. I'm just trying to get comfortable on TV right now.
That's great. First shot was good. Back to you guys.
O'Neal working on a 5-bagger. With a strike here, he'll take the lead here in game 1.
8th frame, Bill O'Neal. Looking good.
Yep. He really is, and he really has.
First time Bill O'Neal has made it to the PBA Tour Finals. Told us yesterday, very excited. Likes the format. Loves the grind of trying to get to that 5th and final show and become PBA Tour Finals champ. EJ Tackett knows about that. Won it 2 years ago and runner-up last year to Belmonte in Detroit.
Only 2 pins separating O'Neal and Tackett. Yeah. Decent shot, just a pinch high, leaving the stone 9. Way better than leaving a stone 8, in my opinion.
Belmonte, all 10 back into the pit. Are you talking about your personal experience, your Twitter handle?
It's none of your business.
I thought maybe that was a reference. And there's a single pin spare conversion for Chris Prather, the 5 seed here in Vegas.
just inside of 5th arrow, out to about the 6th board and back. It's like going from here to Henderson and back.
Not too far. Max scores. Belmont feeling it now.
Hey, Chris, that looked like Belmonte moved a little bit farther right on that left lane. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, looked like he moved maybe 4 to 5 further right and firmed up there to keep the ball in front of him and get to go through the pins a different way.
Prather. That looks much better.
Well, EJ Tack and Bill O'Neill right now can build themselves a pretty big lead. Bill O'Neill can shoot 280. Max score for Belmonte, 206. And 206 for Prather. Roger that. Sure, roger that. EJ Tackett has a possible 278. So Tackett and O'Neill can separate themselves here early.
We thought we might have some big numbers based on the old pattern. Talking to the players yesterday, the prediction was some pretty high scores and the one-lane pattern for the entire PBA Tour Finals this year. EJ Tackett's enjoying it early. Wow. Looking good, EJ. O'Neill, you're in the end of game 1.
Yes, sir.
Wow, these pins have no chance, Randy.
This is what we term high flush. 7-9 goes late. And that was high. It's okay. Good, great start for EJ Tackett. He'll be in the high 260s. O'Neill still with 280 possible.
Qualifying rounds 1 and 2. Two pair of lanes in play simultaneously underway here in Vegas. Show 1 of 5 live on CBS Sports Network. All the PBA Tour Finals, and we are watching some big numbers here with a great start for Tackett, 267 for his first game of qualifying. O'Neill, what a start.
I'm going Barnes. A lot of angle, had trouble striking. The guys that went a little bit straighter, they didn't.
I think you're spot on, Randy. And what it will change, though, as these guys go more and more games. Like when these guys come back in match 4, I think the guys hooking it will have an advantage. But right now on the fresh, this pattern plays very well if you can stay up close to that friction around 8-9. And the two guys doing it best, obviously, are Bill and EJ.
You're off to a great start, CB. 280 O'Neill, 267 for EJ Tackett. Now the two shows today are live, so no time to re-oil and strip. It will just be on the burn the whole way through. That'll be interesting to see how players adjust to the changing lane conditions. Belmont. Some late game magic here in his first game of qualifying.
Well, you see how deep he is now, and then there's going to be 2 more games bowled on it before he gets back on. And you have to ask yourself, is he going to take to the air? Is he going to start lofting it?
Cross deck. The 10 tapped for Chris Prather. He wasn't even looking at it. It's the feel-out game here. Qualifying's underway.
I've never seen him look this irritated. He is.
Why do you think he is?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's a feel thing. Maybe he's just not comfortable with his game, or something doesn't feel right. But he really does look frustrated. All right, it's a good finish for Belmonte as he throws the last 5 in a row to shoot 206. Prather could throw the last 4 in a row for 206. And does. But there's some separation early O'Neill 280, EJ Tackett 267. Belmonte and Prather have some work to do.
Group 1, Game 1 complete. O'Neill, the leader, 280. Tackett, 267. And a pair of 206s for Prather and Jason Belmonte. 2019 PBA Tour Finals underway. Much more bowling coming your way from Vegas. Back in Vegas, time for Game 2, Group 2. Let's meet the bowlers with our event MC, Mike Jakubowski.
He has been a fixture in PBA majors and captured his first at the 2019 USBC Masters after finishing second at the PBA World Championship and the last 2 US Opens. Last year, he captured his 3rd PBA Tour title at the Go Bowling PBA 60th Anniversary Classic from Tempe, Arizona, Jacob Buttrup. He won the 2016 USBC Masters and the 2019 PBA Players Championship, becoming the youngest player to win 2 PBA majors. Last year, he proved his versatility and resolve by winning the Gene Carter's Pro Shop Classic in an extremely unique way by throwing a backup ball. Welcome, Anthony Simonson. He is making his first appearance in the PBA Tour Finals, the 2018 PBA Player of the Year. He won his first title at the USBC Masters in March of last year, becoming the Tour's first 2-time winner in 2018 with a title at the PBA Extra Frame Jonesboro Open. From Holly, Michigan, Andrew Anderson. The 2014 PBA Rookie of the Year made his championship round appearance in the 2018, making him one of the most consistent players on tour. Making the championship match in the 2018 Go Bowling PBA 60th Anniversary Classic, finishing 3rd in this year's Tournament of Champions. Making his 2nd consecutive PBA Tour Finals, 4-time PBA Tour champion, Marshall Kent.
Ready to resume, Randy, here in Vegas. Lanes 5 and 6, Buttrup Simonson will get us going. Lanes 7 and 8, Anderson and Marshall Kent. Interesting to see how Andrew Anderson fares coming off the finger injury that he told us about yesterday. That's really limited his effectiveness, the reigning player of the year.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things that could happen with these 4 players. We could see Simonson throwing a backup ball on the left side of the lane to mirror Jacob. Not sure he's going to do that, but he can. Showed that clip of him winning.
We just saw him do it. Incredible.
And I think the big question mark for me is how well Andrew Anderson's going to bowl. We talked to him yesterday. He said that he was 100% healthy now coming off of that finger injury. He was a player of the year last year.
Only 24 years old. Holly, Michigan, 2 titles and the major at the USBC Masters last year. Here is Anthony Simonson, Little Elm, Texas, and one of the top young stars on the PBA Tour.
Well, he's not throwing a backup ball, that's for sure. You're right, he is one of our brightest stars on the tour, as is this man. It says Yakima, Washington, but he actually lives here now. I've got a great story about Marshall Kent in his new place. I'll tell you that when we come back from the break.
I want to hear it. Had a house built, just moved in recently. He spent about 10 nights there, right? He told us. So he's pretty excited about that. First-time homeowner, Marshall Kent. 15-minute commute, not coming from Yakima, Washington anymore. Spring Valley is where he currently resides. Simo.
You're not going to give
with a 7.
You're not going to give his address.
No, nothing.
Okay. All right. Simonson on that left lane, and Chris talked to us during the break and said all the players said that left lane is starting to get really slick and real slippery down lane.
Kent, 4-time PBA Tour titleist, continues a good start.
And if you think that Kent's strikes sound a little bit louder than some of the other players.
They do sound loud.
He's one of the few players that still uses 16 pounds out here.
Strong guy, works out constantly, a gym rat. Anderson trying to regain that form. Cross lane. And the 10-pin stands for Andrew. Injured his finger in Hong Kong at the Worlds. Just
If he's not the one that leads this round. And by contrast, I think Anthony Simonson caught the worst break following Jason and EJ, where the guys on the right lane followed two players that played relatively straighter.
like the prediction, CB. Let's see if that holds up. Buttrick just 25 years old. 3 titles this year. What a season.
Andrew missing the 10 or the 7 pin. Excuse me, the 10 pin.
It was a 10. There's a split. 8-10.
And now comes back with that.
Alrighty.
It's hard to see that scoreboard when there's 4 bowlers on it. Thanks, Mike. Mike Edwards, our statistician, as always. PBA champion.
Give you a close-up view. We appreciate Eddie working with us again.
Shot by Simo. He needs to figure out that left lane, and that left lane, the same one that gave Belmo all kinds of trouble.
10-pin stands. Open. And a loss of count for Anderson. Soft-spoken young superstar. Texan. Youngest ever to win a major at 19. Youngest to win 2 majors.
Bowled in 2 weeks.
He's only 22 years old. Marshall Kent has been a bit of an enigma, right?
Yeah.
Kind of puzzling why he hasn't won more on tour. What do you think that is?
I think it's all mental for Marshall. He's got all the tools physically. I think when he's right mentally, and whatever it takes for him to get there, I couldn't answer. But when he's right mentally, he's as good as anyone out here. Well, almost as good as everyone out here, except that one guy. Because I'm not sure anybody's in that same league.
I love the fan involvement. You're talking about Belmo?
Speaking of Belmonte, yeah. I just think
4-time titleist this year.
I just think that when Belmonte is at his best, I just think he's that much better than everyone else.
6th year on tour for Kent. 4 titles, but none this year. Trying to get back in gear here in Vegas. There's a 7-pin.
Well, don't go gambling tonight, Marshall, because this was completely unlucky. And we're going to send it down to Chris Barnes.
I'm here with Anthony Simonson. You switch balls in the left lane. What's going on there for you?
That lane seems a little bit tighter, so I went to a ball just a little bit quicker off the spot. That shot was a little more up the lane than I wanted it to be. But I figure a ball that responds to the friction a little bit harder will hopefully make those lanes play a lot closer lane to lane to each other.
All right. Any effect from following Jason, you think?
No, not really. He's probably a little further left than I was, but I don't think there's too much transition going on.
Okay, thanks. Back to you guys.
Great insight. Thanks, Chris. You know what I love about Jacob Buttrick? That's a nice friggin' 7. He doesn't use a towel to wipe the oil off of his ball or a chamois. He spins the ball on his shirt. That is so old school, bro. I love it. They have towels. We didn't have chamois back in the day.
Did you go to school uphill in the snow both ways too? How long ago was this? We're talking about.
Dave,
Towels are okay.
I mean, back then, guys that had towels normally kept them in their back pocket.
I'm an also ran in with him, just giving you a hard time. Good to see the old school once in a while. Anderson Player of the Year said it was a dream moment. We talked to him yesterday about it. And what a year. And he also felt some pressure even with the injured finger. It was a ligament tear that required almost 4 months of physical therapy. No surgery. But he felt the pressure to defend his Player of the Year honor and go out and bowl early in the year when he really shouldn't have.
Right. Well, and I think there's still pressure on him because he's so far behind the curve now with the injury, and he hasn't done anything this season because of that. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him, and I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself to get back to where he once was.
He told us yesterday he's 100%. Has never felt
On the
better.
board.
Let's go back to Simo a moment ago.
Well, the right lane's not the problem.
I'm re-racking.
Yeah, he's perfect on the right lane.
3 for 3.
If that's what the cool kids are doing.
With that 7-pin and a 4-pin on the left lane. And again, he goes to a ball that he says quicker response, meaning that when it sees the dry part of the lane, it's going to have a bigger, more violent motion.
Simonson. Across the deck, that scout can't find the 10.
Well, he liked that shot, and he got it in the right spot, or the right part of the lane, but the ball didn't go through the pins correctly.
Here's Kent, the 7th seed, 29,447 points entering qualification for this event. All 10 back for Marshall. Players qualified based on their 2-year point total, ending in the 2019 USBC Masters, wrapping up April 1st. So that's how we get to our final 8. 10 pin there.
Boy, Marshall looks so good.
It's early, but he looks relaxed and comfortable. Game 1 leader Bill O'Neill. EJ Tackett at 267 sits in second after the first game. Qualifying's underway from the PBA Tour Finals here in Vegas.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. 4, 10.
And let me just add that all 8 of the players in this competition hopped that early charter back from Portland, Maine yesterday morning to get here for a pro-am, some practice.
TV interviews with us.
TV interviews with us, practice session this morning.
A little frustration after that great start for Marshall Kent underway here. Group 2, Game 2 qualifying PBA Tour Finals from Red Rock Lanes in Las Vegas. Be sure to head to PBA.com to check out the latest PBA Bowling Challenge mobile game for iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. More than 23 million people have downloaded the popular game, which is constantly updated with new ball options, venues, competitions, and challenges, and features in-game rewards. Check and click on the PBA Bowling Challenge mobile game at PBA.com and get started today. A lot of fun.
Hey, Dave, see those free cans right there? You could use some of that Barbasol. Just saying.
I've had the goatee for a couple years. You don't like it? Are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying.
What's your opinion?
I'm saying I'm going to buy you a can of Barbasol for Christmas.
Buttra, all 10 back. Game 2, Group 2 underway.
I'm just jealous I can't grow facial hair.
That's not true.
Well, I can, but then it looks like I have the mange or something. Just kind of spotty.
Anderson.
He needs to get it going, and that's a good start for him coming out of commercial break, doubling up. But not the start he was hoping for when he flagged a 10-pin. And right now it's all Buttriff.
Our lone lefty. 6-pin there, but he's in the pocket.
I don't know if that was early hook or if he got that one inside a little bit, but that's what tends to happen when you throw urethane, because the surface is so rough that front part of the lane goes early, and then you drag oil down the lane towards the head pin.
Anderson trying to regain the greatness of 2018.
That's not great.
Doesn't quite have the touch he needs, especially on that left lane.
Spare for Jacob.
Just a little too firm on this shot here, as you see he's playing right in between second and third arrow, and just not enough time at that speed for that ball to get back up to the pocket and release the bucket.
Bucket conversion attempt. Got it. It's a good one for the 24-year-old from Michigan. Went to 3 different colleges. Davenport of Michigan. And then Weber International down in Florida. And finished up at Oakland in Michigan. Simons down there. Strikes. Back to Chris with Andrew.
I'm here with Andrew Anderson. What's going on out there right now for you? What are you feeling?
Well, I only got a couple of shots of practice, and I had the lanes completely backwards to the first few frames there. And now that I'm figuring them out, I'm just trying to get the speed correct in both. This left lane's definitely a little tighter, so I'm trying to throw a little softer. But it's just matching up right now.
Okay, you seeing, and how are you seeing the 2 lanes?
I see left lane significantly tighter in the front part of the lane, and it's making me want to hit it so hard, but then the speed went up, so that's why I bucket.
Okay, so now after the bucket, you move right, or you're just going to throw it softer?
I'm going to throw a really good one, and it's going to be a little softer.
Okay, back to you guys.
Love the access, Chris. Thanks. A foul from Marshall Kent a moment ago. We saw a point there. Check that foul line. And he touches it. Yep. No doubt.
He looked down immediately, and the only good news about it is he wasn't working on a spare, so he doesn't lose any count. Interesting, we've had missed single pin spares, fouls. You know, I've had some folks commenting on social media that they can't remember the last time they've seen so many professionals miss single pin spares, and I got to kind of agree with it.
Buttrill, 7-pin.
I'm going to Chris. Hey, Chris, what's your take on all of the single pin spares that we've seen missed this season?
I think it is a little bit generational, but the releases have gotten so much stronger that guys cannot use anything similar to their strike release to throw spares, even with plastic. And so the difference between the two games is enough that timing-wise as well, that I think it's two separate games and not enough time is being spent on the second part.
Good point. Thanks, Chris.
Watch out, right on cue. Buttrill misses the single pin 7-pin conversion. I mean, as you guys are discussing the topic, and it's something Jacob spoke with us last night, Randy, in our meeting, he has, if there's any weakness in his great season, missed a few 7-pins.
Roll it.
There's a split. Yes, it's a split.
Oh, my.
He's already left one of those, and that looked like it was identical to the last 8-10.
So young bowlers aren't working.
They're not working hard enough on their spare
Hard enough
games,
on spares.
according to Chris, and I would have to agree with it simply based on the spare shooting that I'm seeing.
8-10, Anderson in open frame.
Okay.
Loses count again. Tough start for Andrew. Simonson looking for the turkey here in the foundation frame. The night for Simo, wow, is way wide.
Well, it only
Got
took
it
like
too far.
7 frames.
Sorry,
by
Dave,
that.
got it too far to the right and caught the OB. There is a ledge out there where if the players get it too far to the right, it's like the ball falls off a cliff.
Much better for Anderson.
Been very eventful so far.
Yep, there's an OB. And
Looking down and a force.
I think, Chris, weren't we just talking about spare shooting?
It's been a topic of discussion today and throughout the season on the PBA Tour. So Marshall Kent, after the great start, the first 3 strikes, and struck 4 in the first 5 frames. To his 9th frame of his first game of qualifying, 7 stands.
Come on. Good shot, bad carry.
Simo. All 10 back.
Hey, Chris Barnes, I don't know what your assessment is through 9 frames, 9.5 frames, but mine is very sloppy, all 4 players.
Well, really, I mean, Marshall's had probably the worst luck. Over the top 7, another slam 7 and a foul. He's really close to bowling a big game. I think Jacob is given the biggest opportunity away. You know, he had a chance to really gap out here. Has the best reaction, and the other guys are all kind of scrambling a little bit to figure out what's going on. And I think you're spot on. It's not been anybody's best effort. It's the first game they're trying to learn.
Simonson learns a thing or two about that lane blast right through the rack, all 10 down. And Marshall Kent, originally from Yakima, Washington, longtime member of Team USA. We saw a group 1 already. with O'Neill and Tackett leading the way. We're going to see Group 1 again and Group 2 again.
See this group right after this
Right.
game, all they're going to do is just flip pairs.
Just keep on going for their second 2 games of qualifying in this show. And we'll do it all again live right after we're finished with show 1. Back-to-back live shows. First time ever. PBA Tour Finals on CBS Sports Network.
Simonson 205. Max score for Marshall Kent 217. Buttriff can still shoot 237.
Marshall Cannon. Wow, ringing 10 pin.
Some really good shots shown by Marshall this game for 2-0, that's for sure.
How does that affect you mentally? You're throwing some good shots, but maybe not the results?
It's tough, but you know, this format still allows you time.
Spare for Kent. And Marshall Kent at 207 after Simonson posted a 205 in his first game of qualifying.
Andrew Anderson really needs to strike out. He can kind of save this game with 190. But Jacob can separate himself.
Lives in Arizona now, originally from Vegas. And grew up coming to this center and so many others in Las Vegas area. His childhood home about 15 minutes from here, so Jacob, sort of a hometown hero. He's moved away, Ken has moved here, but really got a connection with Las Vegas. Questions for Anderson. Two, 3, 7 for Jacob Buttriff.
Could have been more, a lot more. A couple of 7 pins and a 6 pin for Jacob Buttriff. And again, he missed the 1-7 pin in the 8th frame. But yeah, that could have been in the 270s easy. Andrew Anderson's in trouble, and I don't know if it's a ball change. I don't know if it's just something he's doing physically, but he's going to change balls for his fill shot right here. What's something stronger? That looked way better.
And that worked out pretty well. A 170 is the score for Anderson, so he's 4th of Group 2. 237 for Buttriff is the Group 2 leader after 1 game of qualifying from here in fabulous Las Vegas. Game 1 of qualifying for Group 1 and Group 2 in the books. Bill O'Neill, 280 for Game 1. He's the leader. E.J. Tackett, Prather, and Belmonte, 206 in their first game of qualifying. In Group 2, after 1 game, Jacob Buttriff, the lone lefty, 237, leads the way. For this Go Bowling with Randy, time to go to the Go Bowling Facebook page. And here's the question from Chris. Randy, are you ready?
I am.
He is a speed-dominant player, struggles to slow the ball down when he needs to. What are some ways he can take some heat off of his shot?
Easy fix, Chris. What you want to do first is I want you to move up on the approach. That's going to shorten your steps down, okay? Then what I want you to do is lower your starting position. That's going to shorten your swing. Now, when you start to get the ball moving, you get that ball into the push away. I want you to push it late and slow. This will automatically slow your feet down because your feet always try to follow what the ball does.
Good advice. I love it. Go Bowling with Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. Much more coming up. 2019 PBA Tour Finals from here in Las Vegas. Anderson Buttriff looking for some answers. Along with Simonson, the stars are out here in Vegas. Red Rock Lanes home to one of the biggest comebacks in TOC history back in 2008. Michael Haugen Jr. down by 53 pins after the 6th frame, but chipped away at Chris Barnes' lead. After Chris missed a 10 pin in the 9th, Michael struck twice in the final frame, forcing Chris Barnes to get 20 pins in the 10th. And when he left a 4 pin on his final shot, Michael Haugen Jr. walked away with his first TOC title. A great moment for Michael Haugen Jr.
Well, this is a few frames away from being my favorite place maybe on earth to bowl. Instead, it has some of my most memorable moments, maybe not my most favorite ones. So, great place here. We have a great competition coming up. A few ball changes. I think we'll see some bigger scores in round 2 here for these guys.
All right, Chris. Hey, you're a good sport talking about that one. As we just saw the Ebonite flashback a moment ago, our Barbasol PBA Tour Finals roll on. Group 2 qualifying game 2. It's good of Chris to talk about that. Anderson, Buttriff, Kent, and Simonson on our 4 TV lanes here in Vegas. Now, Chris has had quite a career. 87 TV appearances.
Uh-huh.
And 19 titles. Hall of Fame.
Hall of Famer, baby.
2 titles last year for Anderson. And then the injury in Hong Kong we told you about. A torn tendon in his finger. And came back and talked to his ball reps as soon as he did it. Said that didn't feel right. Made some adjustments as his second game of qualifying is underway here with 9 down. And then found out not too much later that it was a torn tendon. That decision to stay out and bowl and not take the time off. If it were you, what would you have done? Coming off Player of the Year honors.
I probably would have done the same thing. I mean, it for me, it just would have depended on just how limited I was physically. You know, if I felt like I was close and I could kind of, you know, I had a chance, then I would stay out. But if I felt that it was, you know, a huge hindrance, then yeah, I would have taken the time off.
205 for Simonson in his first game.
He's going to curve it a lot this game.
Wow. That takes a left turn into the pocket.
Or as my one fan on Facebook, or it might be Twitter, says, stop saying curve, it's hook. And then I pointed out that, you know what the shape of a hook looks like, right? That's why. What would you call that, a hook or a curve, Dave?
I mean, the ball's curving into the 1-2 pocket.
Thank you, Dave, finally.
But you hook a shot. It's a obviously major bowling phrase. But yeah, the shape of a hook is you fish.
I do. I like deep sea fishing. All right, he's going to hook it a lot this game. Wow. And really opening up the entire lane. Marshall Kent's good at it. The unusual style of Jacob Buttriff. It's just incredible. I mean, if you've never seen him before and you watched him practicing at your local center, you'd say, hey, this guy couldn't beat anybody. And then you just watch him, and all he does is strike and win.
And he's won 7 times already in 5 years on tour. Here's Kent. Looking for help on the 10-pin. Won't quite get it. 207. See the score in his first game.
Now remember, not too long ago, I promised a story about Andrew Anderson and Marshall Kent.
I've been waiting.
All right, so Marshall has a new place here. You talked about it. He's got a couple of guys staying there. Andrew Anderson and EJ Tackett. Anderson shows up early yesterday. Marshall gives him the code to the house. Marshall's not there yet. EJ's not there yet. Andrew thinks he's walking into an empty house. Starts looking through the house, opens up one of the bedrooms, and there's a body in one of the beds. Well, Andrew closes the door, and he goes and takes a shower. He comes out of the shower, and there's this body standing there. They're face to face. And Andrew goes, you must be Marshall's brother. And Marshall's brother says, who are you?
Because Marshall didn't tell his brother that Andrew was coming.
Marshall never told his brother that anybody was coming.
It was a bit of a surprise for each of them.
Yeah.
And just hilarious the way Andrew told that story yesterday. Let's go back to CB, lane side.
Hey guys, the biggest changes are by Marshall and Anthony. You've seen Anthony take a giant step left, and he's going to go around it the whole way. Marshall said, hey, I can't throw it that good and only shoot 2-0. So he looked at 2 different options. He looked at a 3-inch phase 2 to make it roll early and kind of lay there to get through the pocket. And the other option is IQ Tour, a smaller flare ball, and he went with the smaller flare ball. He's also going to hook it more down lane.
Chris, is Anthony curving it or hooking it?
He's putting the big wheel on it right now.
The big wheel, that's another term.
No, that wasn't one of the choices.
He's curving it.
Thank you, Chris. Another voice of reason. That makes 3 of us.
Check your Facebook page and your Twitter account, because I'll bet people are chiming in right now.
Oh, this guy right now is sending me death threats on Twitter. Anthony Simonson perfect through 3 as he steps up. Buttriff perfect through 4. Marshall still looking for his first double, and Andrew 9 spare with a double.
205 is the first game of qualifying score for Simo here. Cat 207 avoids a split with a 10-pin stance. It's all about total pinfall. Qualifying leading into the stepladder finals eventually tomorrow night. When it's all said and done, 5 live shows on CBS Sports Network and a PBA Tour champion.
All right, Andrew. I just want to see him bowl good. I want to see him bowl well. I want to see him get some confidence in himself back.
10-pin. Just got enough of it.
There's a hard man.
That was
Floating with the channel.
That was skinny. I'm going to Chris Barnes.
Anderson feels he's not too far away from returning to the greatness of 2018. And he wants to find a way, he told us, to get a chip on his shoulder. Again, he wants to have that motivation like he did a year ago, returning to form after the injury. It's not just physical, it's mental too, right?
Right, and along those lines, Chris Barnes, do you think that Andrew Anderson is going too straight?
I think he had to overshell and get control of the pocket again. It's kind of old school. And once he sees control of pocket, then he should be able to use some of his tools. But he couldn't figure out if they were going to hook or not hook in game 1. So I think it's what he has to do. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to change anything for him right now, though.
170 his first game, CB. Cross lane there for the 10, a whiff. And the 170 by far the lowest score of anyone in either Group 1 or Group 2 in the first game of qualifying.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you 2 players that wouldn't be very proud of the spare shooting exhibition today, and that would be Mr. Roth and Mr. Holman. You could throw Mr. Williams Jr. into that. 3 of probably the best spare shooters ever.
Surprising to see out here. Kent. Late tap on number 7.
I'm not sure I'd call that lucky, Chris Barnes. Not sure I'd call that hit lucky, but I guess he was fortunate to kick the 7 out late.
Hey, right here I have Marshall Kent. You were between making a little ball change. What made you go with the AQ Tour?
Just a little earlier chord, get the ball to read the mid lane a little sooner. I feel like the idle portal kind of got behind it a little too much, especially on the left lane, so I went to a chord that rolls a little earlier. See if I can create a little more early hook so I can actually get the ball shaped up the right way.
Sure looks like the right move.
So far.
Chris Marshall, thanks. Great access. Lane level live here with all of our players. The immediate response of the bowlers as the lanes break down. Pretty cool.
By the way, this man is perfect through 5. Looking to crack open a 6-pack.
How about the front 6 for Jacob in his second game? You bet. Oh, his pins have no chance. All 10 back into the pit.
It's amazing what he does with the urethane bowling ball.
Simo. A strike. Game 2 of qualifying Group 2, midway point. More coming up from Vegas. And the PBA Tour Finals on CBS Sports Network. Second game of qualifying underway for Group 2. Time now ready for track technique.
And we're going to take a look at Andrew Anderson's beautiful game. Real high backswing, but I love the direction of this swing. You see the ball right over the top of his head, tucks to the inside and gets the hand in a really nice spot. And then obviously his great lines. Take a look at him from profile. We'll freeze it at the top of the backswing. And you can see just how steep this swing is right there. Run And right now, the only thing that's lacking is his touch at the bottom of the swing, something that Chris and I were talking about during the break.
170 for the 6th seed Andrew Anderson in the first game of qualifying. Yeah, the open frame for AA in the 5th. Single pin spare conversion miss after the turkey. Trying to regain the form and the 9-pin stand.
I think that was another ball change.
I might be able to get
What happened?
I just talk, I'm a commentator.
Thank you.
Well, that's easy for you to say.
It's Marshall, it's the 10-pin, it's a spare. Game 2, Group 2 qualifying is underway. Game 1, tremendous first outing for Bill O'Neill, 280. DJ Tackett behind him at 267. Prather and Belmonte through a 206 game. And we'll see those guys from Group 1 coming up again in Game 4 of our first show qualifying.
That was a good
5
shot.
shows on CBS Sports Network.
That was a good shot.
I changed spare balls.
And Marshall Kent, like he told Chris in that little mini interview, going to a different bowling ball, shaping it a little differently. Right now it's Simonson and Jacob Buttriff in Game 2 of the 4-game qualifier.
Cross lane for the 10, Andrew Anderson's got it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Marshall had to
Hey, good
react
ball change.
after that conversion for Andrew.
No problem there on the mark. What a game for Buttriff. Looking for 7. You bet. Here's the Barbasol close shave of the day. 4th frame. Simonson just enough Randy of the 10-pin.
Yeah, half the ball caught it. The other half was falling off the edge of the lane, but he still covered it. Now, Jacob Buttriff, man, front 7. And Simonson keeps himself in it.
For the front 8, not this time.
Well, I was going to say there was a $10,000 bonus, but that would have just jinxed him.
2-7 baby split.
You know why they call it the baby split?
Why is that?
I have no idea.
It's a small split?
It's because it's the smallest width, maybe. But then again, you could leave like the 4-5 or the 5-6.
10-pin, everything but go down there for Anthony Simonson.
Vegas.
205 first game for him. Spare box lets you watch the bowler and pin deck. He's got that baby split.
I guess that has a token to make it.
So no perfect game, but a big game for Buttriff. Our leader in Group 2 after a 237 first game. 10-pin down. For Simonson, back to Chris with Jacob.
I'm right here with Jacob Buttriff. You said after the 8th frame of the first game, you went from a purple hammer that had more shape down lane to one had less. What did you see to make you switch?
So I actually was I was throwing a really strong and early purple hammer, and I just saw I didn't see the most comfortable reaction, so I went to a purple hammer that I call Old Faithful, and it's just a lot more smoother reaction. So I'm seeing a little bit more shape with it down lane, so it gives me that little extra pop, I would say, when it gets to the pins.
So by getting through the front easier, you're carrying a little bit more, and up until that one, it's been nothing but strikes.
Just error shy. I threw it slow, didn't get it to the left quick enough, so just come out and finish it with the last 2 frames and put up a big number.
All right, go finish it off. Back to you guys in the booth.
CB, thanks. Great access. Jacob, right off that spare after the front 7. Anderson. Right at that 1-3 pocket. Now 10 back.
Nobody going straighter on this pattern than Andrew Anderson, that's for sure. Marshall Kent's lost his carry. He's going through bowling balls. He's juggling different orbs, trying to figure out a way to strike more, but he hasn't found anything. Simonson can strike out for 258, but this man right now in control of game 2 as well. And, oh,
a nudge,
oh,
a bump, and it still stands.
You filthy animal.
Is that a Home Alone reference? Where are you going with that one?
Sure.
Great movie.
There you go.
Oh, nearly a 7-10.
There you go. There you go. Some more good carry that Marshall Kent said never. As we take a look at what could have been if the meat of that pin would have gotten a hold of the 7.
There's a 7 pin. There's a single pin conversion. Well, Jacob told us last night, just been a dream season for him in so many ways. His rhythm has been great. Mental aspect has been top notch. 7 pin conversion for Kent.
And max score for Jacob, 267 to go along with his 237 starter. He's going to have a nice lead after 2 games for his side of the stepladder.
6 titles, 6th-year pro Simonson. Already, such a young age. All 10 back.
258 for Simonson, youngest player to ever win the Masters and the youngest player to ever win 2 majors.
Isn't that simple? 22 years old. Buttroff, a young gun as well. All 10 back. One more time for Jacob Buttroff.
He'll be in the 260s with good count. It'll be over 500 for his 2 games, which is simple math, 250 average a game. Oh gosh. Whoa. There's that OB spot again.
Way off. 1, 2, 7. Pin. Jacob liked it for good reason. Look at the numbers again for Buttroff. 266 in his 2nd game after 237 in the opener.
503 for 2. Wow. Simonson will be in the 230s, and with good count, he'll be 440 plus. Almost 60 back of Buttroff with 2 games to go in the qualifier.
We await a re-rack on lane 5. Anderson. That's better.
3 in a row, baby.
236 max score
Off to the start.
for Andrew.
Starts way left and gets a break. 238. Come off 205, so a nice step up for Anthony Simonson in game 2. 4 games of qualifying.
Andrew's going to be a good 100 behind Buttroff. And Marshall Kent not far behind that. As Buttroff sets the pace. And I'll tell you what, if you ask the other 7 players in this event, they would have told you that that's no surprise. That Jacob had a really good a really nice ball reaction on this hole pattern, and he's out there all by himself.
He felt confident yesterday. We heard Chris say that as well on the air. Getting us started here in our first show. That's going to really hurry and will not.
First bad shot in 2 games.
1-2, 8-10 washout.
Another shot that gets right of the friction and hits that sheet of ice.
Anderson would love to finish this game in style. 2:35 for his second game of qualifying.
98 behind Buttriff.
Lots of cover. Won't get it all.
And Marshall has to be very disappointed with the way he finished this game and his pin carry.
407 total for Kent, 2 games qualifying. They've got 4 games of qualifying here at Red Rock Lanes in Las Vegas, the 2019 PBA Tour Finals. Roll on next. Group 2 is through with 2 games of qualifying, and Jacob Buttriff leads the way. 5:03 through 2. Simonson, Kent, and Anderson at 4:43, 4:07, and 4:05. Second, third, and fourth. Currently, timeout for our Columbia 300 fun fact. On this date, 50 years ago, 1969, legend Marty Pirano won the Houston Sertoma Open. And less important news, also the same date, 50 years ago, Neil Armstrong became the first person to set foot on the moon. Oh, by the way, NASA Mission Control, also located in Houston. Marty Pirano, may he rest in peace, a bowling and Central New York legend. I worked with Marty back in the day, about 30 years ago, WSTM TV. Joe Ciccone, our great stats man and graphics operator in the truck, was with us as well, coming out of Skaneateles, New York. Great times in Syracuse back then. We certainly miss Marty a lot.
Yep. Well, not the start Prather was hoping for. The same look, though, from game 1.
The same exact
right?
look for Chris Prather as we go back to Group 1. Chris had a 206 as the 5 seed. This guy bowled really well. 280, Bill O'Neill in the first game of qualifying.
Yeah. Let's see how he does when moving over to the 5 and 6, lane 5 being a little slick.
Comes in high, 3-6-10.
Excuse me, Bill O'Neill stayed on 7 and 8. Prather over on 5 and 6, and Belmonte stays on that pair. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have just moved the same 2 players over to the other pair. Oh well.
Good spare.
Yeah, thanks.
Back to Belmo. 206 game for him in the first game of qualifying. Long way to go to determine the step ladder finals tomorrow night. Good start, Belmo. In his second game of qualifying, better than his first game, that's for sure. EJ Technic, 2017 PBA Tour Finals champ, looking for help across the deck for the 10-pin, doesn't quite get it.
Did you see Belmo's first shot? Kind of took to the air a little bit, and I thought that might happen on that right lane if he stayed on 5 and 6, which he has, the 4-time Chris Schenkel Player of the Year.
Wow.
I'm not sure he has to do it on the left lane, though, because the left lane is a little slicker. We'll see in this shot right here. Yep, way farther right.
Big move, good move.
Chris Barnes, what do you see, and what's your opinion with Jason Belmonte's first 2 shots?
Well, Jason's showing, why he is who he is. He's moved way left on that right lane to get it to go through the pins, and it's been an hour since they bowled for score here. And that left lane, he's to carry here in this building generally, and on these pin setters, lots of times more direct angles are a little bit better, and that's what he's doing to try and get it out.
Bad result for Prather. Back to EJ. Up to 267 game. 9-pin.
Ugly. Nice shot. Ugly result.
Prather has gone way down. He's balled down 2 or 3 different levels of balls down to a really clean, small flare ball before to try and get the ball to do something different than it did in game 1.
But Chris, Dave and I have been watching him for a game in 3 frames now, and he just looks like he's really frustrated with something.
He might be a little bit frustrated with his game. As we talked to him yesterday, he's not quite as sharp as he'd like to be. And, you know, when you're uncomfortable on TV, it's a high-stress environment. Not having great ball reaction will make you a little edgy.
The mental game, Chris Prather told us about last night was so important. He felt physically he was fine, but he doesn't really seem comfortable yet. Now to his second game of qualifying. Belmo has a high shot and a 6-pin stands.
And a pretty good break, only leaving the 6th.
Bill O'Neill's got to keep it going. Great start. That's better. All 10 back for O'Neill.
I'll tell you what, that Chris Barnes sure knows talent when he went with Bill O'Neill. He's been spot on with that pick.
CB knows the thing, and so do you.
He's been around a bit.
Just a bit.
He's a Hall of Famer. He has had an incredible year. He still has plenty left. Hopefully he didn't hear any of that.
I think he did.
Last thing I want is for him to get a big head.
Free pocket, perfect placement, Bill O'Neill.
It's really nice to see what Bill O'Neill's been doing this season. You know, he had some struggles that lasted for a couple years. He went through some changes, to, like we all have done, to try to get back in the game. And speaking of Bill O'Neill, let's send it down to Chris Barnes.
We're here with Bill O'Neill, and it's been an hour since you've thrown a shot, but it looks like you picked right up where you left off. How much different are they for you?
Yeah, part of the reason why I'm playing him a little bit straighter is to kind of stay out of the way of the guys that I'm bowling with and in the other group, so they can kind of be a little bit fresher where I am. They are hooking a little bit more than when I left, so I got to keep an eye on that. But I'm like 2 left on each lane from when I bowled earlier.
And that looks like a lot less than the other guys around you.
That is, and that was part of the part of the idea when I decided to play him straight. So we'll see what happens. Let's keep going.
Well, when you're throwing a great, and you got great strategy, it looks like it pays off. Keep it going.
Just trying to impress you.
Back to you guys in the booth.
I think he's doing a pretty good job so far, Chris. I like that.
I mean, he's impressing me.
Off to a great start. EJ tacking a good shot after his 267. The yellow scores there you see to the left are the first game scores. Prather couldn't even look at the last release and barely nudges that single pin spare conversion. He's gone from looking disgruntled to really disgusted here on TV and qualifying.
I think right now it's just his physical game. He's trying to figure out how to get back into rhythm. And when you see a spare shooter like Prather, he's a really good spare shooter, almost missed that single pin spare. That's just a timing issue.
Bill O'Neill didn't like that one out of his hand, but just 1 pin for a spare. Prather. Split. No problem, Bill O'Neill. 2010 U.S. Open in Indianapolis. He calls to this day his career highlight. And a great run for O'Neill.
O'Neill, Hall of Fame credentials. And that's just insult to injury when you shoot the 210 and you wrap the 2-pin around the 10.
Title. You saw it for O'Neill. High shot. Down the line with a 3-6-10.
Remember, there's been no re-oil, so these players are running into the transition that has occurred since they bowled the first game, which was on a fresh oil pattern.
4 titles, 2 majors this year for Belmo. Spectacular season again. And the 9-pin this time.
Thank you very little.
TOC Fairlawn, Ohio. Chameleon Championship in Allen Park outside Detroit. World Championship also in Detroit. And the Japan Invitational in Tokyo. What a year. Belmo again. Spare for O'Neill.
O'Neill giving the 3-6-10 the business this game. was the second one he's shot at. He's made them both.
More than $250,000 in winnings already for Belmo this year. Number 1 on tour. There's his single pin spare conversion.
He's made about a quarter of your salary this season.
No. Are we talking career earnings here? Or? Been having a while.
E.J. Tackett, nice double there. He's trying to close that gap between him and O'Neal after game 1. Remember game 1, E.J. Tackett 267, O'Neal 280. Tackett with 3 in a row now. Look out.
Belmo down and watching it blast right through the rack. He's checking footwork there to make sure didn't check up or didn't foul. Apparently just fine.
Looking for 4.
You bet.
Beauty.
Midway through Group 1 and second game of qualifying. 4-bagger for E.J. Tackett. And the great Jason Belmonte, the world's #1 player, trying for another PBA Tour Finals title after winning outside Detroit a year ago against that guy, E.J. Tackett.
We should have our own show. Randy Rhino show.
You got to fix your headset first.
I just
before you
did.
talk. I would love to do that.
Yeah, the Randy Rhino show. We could talk about everything.
How about the Rhino Randy show?
It sounds way better if it's the Randy Rhino show.
Back to Prather.
Ball
In
change.
6th frame. Ball change. Trying to get things going here. He's got to turn that frown upside down. Am I right?
I'm telling you, right now what Chris is trying to do is just get his feet underneath him.
Group 1 qualifying game 2. Bill O'Neal shot a 280 in that first game. Take a big lead. Jay Tackett, 13 pins back, was next best. After 2 in Group 2, it's Jacob Buttriff a 503. He's the leader over Simonson, Anderson, and Kent. Portland, champs in Portland. PBA League. It's quite a scene, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Storming the floor after, just amazing.
Yeah, it was like you were at a college basketball
game.
Yeah,
That's right.
It was great.
Storm the court. Nothing quite like that.
So, Chris, tell me what you see so far, and why is E.J. Tackett out to that big lead early?
Well, I think much like Bill, he hasn't changed his angles a whole lot. He hasn't opted to move way left. He's controlling the mid lane. He's just an arrow left of where Bill is, and so he's run into a little bit less traffic. Bill ran into a little bit on that left lane, and where he hadn't seen much change, looks like it caught up to him there.
Thank you, Chris. E.J. looking for 5 in a row.
Oh, you bet. He's feeling it. No titles this year. Had 3 a year ago. But in terms of earnings and his average, almost exactly the same as a year ago for E.J. Tackett. So it's been consistent. Trying to get back in the winner's circle. This guy's been in the winner's circle plenty. Whoa, Brooklyn time.
I'll tell you what, he's got plenty of hook on that right lane. You know my 2 favorite things about E.J. Tackett? The way he throws it, fun to watch, right? And his attitude. He's got a great attitude.
Totally agree. Always fun to talk to. And quite a golfer.
Yeah, scratch golfer.
There was a point when he was younger, 12, 13 years old, he wasn't sure if he was going to be a pro golfer or bowler. Made a good decision going the bowling route.
I've played with him. He can flat out move it.
I'll bet.
This was left to target the whole way, crosses over for a handy little Brooklyn. Wow.
He must have liked it, walked it out.
It looked like a 7-pin fell over because it fainted.
O'Neal for O'Neal here. Looks for a turkey.
He's trying to hang.
Great shot.
Yep. Hung out with Bill's dad last week in Portland, Maine. Senior drove up and he had his cousin with him. I'm so proud of you, Dave. Yeah, he's just going real straight. And again, just trying to find some rhythm.
frame, looks for a four-bagger. O'Neal crossed it. Down goes number 10.
As dirty as a vulture's breath, that shot was.
Haven't heard that one yet, Randy. That's good.
Oh, I've got some new material for you, my friend.
I only see it once a year, so we got to get the new ones in. Still shaking his head. EJ Tackett ran hot. Ninth frame. Not this time.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible that he didn't strike on that shot.
So it falls just short of the 7-bagger, but still bowling great here in his second game of qualifying. Belmo 2-6 in the first game. Lofting. And
oh my God. That pin came across and it looked like when a dolphin comes up out of the water and it walks on its tail. That thing almost stood up again. I don't know what pin it was, but let's take a look. Yeah, let's take one more look at this. Let's see. I couldn't tell if it was the head pin or not. That's cray.
No problem, spare ball, and the 10 pin for Belmo. Tackett looking good. Second game qualifying. 10 pin, tapped, and down it goes.
Why you gotta copy? Why you gotta copy me? I can't let you outbest me. Come on.
All right, max score for Belmonte 238. O'Neal 256, Tackett 258.
Missed the pocket that time. Great year for Belmo as we talked about the titles at 6 shows. Jay Tackett. Wow.
And with a 250 to go with his 267 starter, Tackett and O'Neal looking to separate themselves from Belmonte and Prather.
Four, 8 down for Belmo.
Half.
It comes in way high, but a great game. 2-5-3. After he shot a 267 in the first game. Better for Belmo. 226 after 206 in his first game.
Well, this to maintain the lead. This strike here will put him in the 240s. Oh boy.
Not quite.
May have fanned it at the bottom of the swing there.
That's frustrating for Bill O'Neal. He knew he needed a good finish. Prather can't even look again.
Hasn't liked anything he's done today.
Really not all day, right? I mean, in the second game of qualifying, he was finished with that.
He's just not happy with himself.
Oh, God.
Nine pin got it. O'Neal trying to finish out this game in style. Second game of qualifying. All 10 back. 233. After the 280 in the opening game. And a 193 off the 206 for Prather. Second game, Group 1. Chris quickly off the lanes to regroup O'Neill, Tackett, Prather, Belmonte wrapping up their second game. Back at Red Rock Lanes here in Vegas. Group 1, Group 2 complete with 2 games of qualifying. EJ Tackett, the overall leader, 5:20 through 2. O'Neill, Belmonte, Prather wrap up Group 1. And in Group 2, Buttriff 5:03 is the leader. Simonson, Kent, and Andrew Anderson behind him. Jacob Buttriff, the leader in Group 2. Chris Barnes, EJ Tackett, lane level.
And here we are, the biggest score of the day and Group 1 stacked leader. What did you see out there that made you, tell us about how you got to where you did today.
Yeah, I ended up using a little bit bigger bowling ball, using an asymmetric ball, just so that way I feel like I could stay a little bit closer to the hook, get the ball to go a little bit more forward off of it, so I didn't see all the wishy-washy stuff. And I was able to go out and execute, and ended up with good scores.
Yeah, the carry was much better for you than it was for some of the players that went way around it. Now, everyone's talked about you're not the biggest guy on tour,
right,
but you do have the most powerful release of anybody with their thumb in it for sure, and maybe even without the thumb. How do you create so much power out there?
Well, one of the biggest things is just using your legs. You know, a lot of people, amateurs, don't use their legs enough, and bowling isn't different from any other sport. The power starts from the ground up, and that's one thing. Being a smaller guy and playing golf my whole life, I was able to figure out a way to utilize that and use that ground as leverage and create the power that I do.
That's great. And, you know, you didn't have your most successful year as far as shows or wins, but in my opinion, I thought you added a lot of versatility and showed a lot more tools than you get credit for, especially in the slower speed. And then even though you have all that power like today, you're not using all of it to create angle. You're just using it to control the lane. What do you do to use those tools?
It's the same thing as creating the power. You know, I use my feet to dictate how fast or slow I throw the bowling ball. So that's my guide of, you know, especially like the Players Championship, I was throwing it pretty slow. I just slow my feet down and just kind of elongate my swing to match my feet. And then it's vice versa if I want to throw it harder. You know, swing gets a little more compact and shorter, but my feet get really fast. So that's basically what I do to control that kind of thing.
Well, thank you. That's great information here with our Group 1 leader, EJ Tackett. Back to Dave and Randy.
Hey, Chris, thanks. EJ Tackett trying for his 13th career title, the 4 seed, off to a great start through 2 games of qualifying here at the PBA Tour Finals. Qualifying show number 1 in the books from Vegas. Now for Randy Peterson and Chris Barnes, the entire CBS Sports Network crew. It's Dave Ryan saying so long for now. We'll be back after the break to bring you more PBA bowling as we continue the Barbasol PBA Tour Finals live from Red Rock Resort in Vegas. It's been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Through 2 games of qualifying, it's all about EJ Tackett. We've got more bowling on the way. Bowling fans, it is time to resume the 2019 Barbasol PBA Tour Finals from Red Rock Lanes in the one and only Las Vegas, Nevada. Rounds 1 and 2 of qualifying are complete. Now it's time for rounds 3 and 4. By the end of this show, we'll have our step-ladder semifinal matchups set to go. Let's check out the scores from Groups 1 and Groups 2. In Group 1, EJ Tackett Spectacular, 5:20. Bill O'Neill not far behind at 5:13. Belmonte and Prather have got some work to do after their first 2 games of qualifying. Group 2, Jacob Buttriff, the lone lefty, and the young superstar, 5:03. Simonson, Kent, and Anderson chasing Jacob Buttriff. Welcome back to Vegas. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, my Hall of Fame broadcast partner. We're joined by Chris Barnes, lane level as well. All right, impressions from rounds 1 and 2 of qualifying. We've got a 2-horse race and a 1-horse race so far in the 2 groups, right?
Yeah, you really do. Bill O'Neill and EJ Tackett really separated themselves. Belmonte is 80 and 90 back of those 2 respectfully. And Chris Prather's just trying to find some resemblance of timing. In our other group, it's starting to look like Jacob Buttriff is going to pretty much lead that side. Anthony Simonson does have an outside chance. But when you look at how far behind these players are, when the scores are this high, it's extremely difficult to make up that much ground with only 2 games left.
A lot of bowling left. However, Jason Belmonte, who's been so great throughout this season and his career, is chasing the leaders right now. So Chris Barnes, I want to ask you about Belmo in particular. What does he have to do to get back in this thing?
Well, in my opinion, he's probably going to have to abandon the big slow wheel, and he's going to have to get a little closer to it, use his power, and go into shot-making mode and just out-shot make him. But he's so far behind with two guys that are really lined up. I think he's going to have a really tough go catching up with both Bill and EJ.
Chris, thank you. Barbasol PBA Tour Finals resume from Vegas in a moment here on CBS Sports Network. More qualifying, all leading eventually to the stepladder finals. From Las Vegas. Back at Red Rock, 830 rooms, a 3-acre pool area. It's spectacular. Randy, our lane conditions.
The lower rev guys are going to go real straight like we saw earlier. Belmonte's going to get way in, and he's going to really hook it. And, of course, we only have one lefty, and Jacob Buttriff is going to be in this zone here.
Ready to resume qualifying. Simonson, Anderson on lanes 5 and 6. Buttriff and Marshall Kent, lanes 7 and 8.
And we'll get a double dose back-to-back of Belmonte, EJ Tackett, Chris Prather, and Bill O'Neill. They'll follow this game and bowl back-to-back games to complete their 4-game qualifier.
Simonson gets us started. And he does so in style. Group 2 leader, 2 seed, 503. His score after 2 games of qualifying. Jacob Buttriff, all 10 back again.
Did that a lot for 2 games, didn't he? Averaged over 250 for the first 2 games. And we take a look at Andrew Anderson, trying to find some confidence.
That will help move him in the right direction. Holly, Michigan, not far from Flint. Reigning player of the year. Looking to regain the greatness. Marshall Kent had some struggles. First 2 games. His 3rd game underway now. 7-pin.
Marshall decides on a different bowling ball for this game that he has not used yet. I saw him use that ball in Portland a couple of days ago. He had pretty good success with it. Yeah.
Nearly the dreaded 7-10 for Anderson. Back to Marshall. There's a 7-pin.
Hey, Chris Barnes, would you rather see Andrew a little softer and opening the lane up a little bit more?
I think he's got to soften up a little bit. I think the combination here is a little bit tricky, and over time I've used more of what Marshall did on the right lane, is kind of push it through the front, but with a really strong ball that wants to roll and kind of be smooth in the back. I think that carries a little better here. Andrew's got the smooth part down, but he's so firm right now. I just can't get his ball to go through the pins. I think you're spot on. He's got to get slower. I don't know how much further left he has to move, but he certainly has to get softer. So let it read.
So basically what Chris and I are talking about is Andrew creating a little bit more curve or hook or motion. You see that last shot that Marshall Kent just threw, and you can really see a pronounced back-end ball reaction. Andrew's ball reaction looks kind of soft down lane. And we think that maybe he should get a little softer and create a little more shape. Maybe trying to go 2 straight, Dave.
We'll see. I love the analysis, guys. Great to have Chris with us, lane level, this year in the PBA Tour Finals on CBS Sports Network.
It's great to have you back with us, my friend.
I missed you, man. Buttriff. Wow. Looking good.
And I don't see Jacob Buttriff's ball reaction changing a whole lot, so I think it's just going to be that much more difficult to catch him.
All 10 back for Simonson, the 443 to 405 you see next to Simo's name, along with Anderson. The 2-game qualifying score leading into this 3rd game. So 2 more games of qualifying on this show for each group.
That's for you, Barhold.
Beautiful shot there by Buttriff. That's 3 in a row. We're going to send it down to Chris Barnes and Anthony Simonson.
So you're 60 back. Do you have enough ball reaction right now to catch him?
Yeah, but I just don't know if I got enough frames. Ball action's pretty good, I feel like. Got the understanding of how the pairs are playing, but when he gets striking, he's hard to catch up. But we're going to give it a run and see what happens.
There you go. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Chris. Good job. Marshall Kent tried that one ball for one shot. Changed in the second frame. He's going to stay with it.
200 his first game, second game, after 207 the opener. He's got to get moving now in his third game of qualifying.
It's so crazy because the ball he started with and that ball react completely different. You know, it's like, all right, why? One was like the first ball he used is real early and slower responding, and that aqua ball is not.
Our reigning player of the year.
And you see what I'm talking about, Dave? How soft it is off the end of the pattern. It's like, it's like not enough. And there's the aqua ball. What is that? I think it's an Idol Pro.
Looks for Turkey, fourth frame, left lane, all 10 back.
All right, come on.
The bowler has the first 4 strikes in this match. Any other player on today's show, if that happens, a perfect game. Everyone in America can receive a free game of bowling courtesy of Go Bowling. To claim your free game, simply head to gobowling.com and register for the Go Bowling Free America promotion.
I don't think Jacob has changed balls since we started. Is that his purple hammer, the Old Faithful, right?
Old Faithful. We heard that from him in the first broadcast.
Yep. All right, Simonson, front 3. Butcher, front 4.
Simo.
Nicely done.
All 10 back again in a groove.
But hard to catch a guy when he's, how many pins ahead is he 60 ahead? Yeah, it's hard to catch a guy when he's 60 ahead of you, when all he does is continue to strike.
Heard that from Anthony a moment ago with Chris.
Hey.
Weekdays at noon Eastern, step into the jungle. Jim Rome unleashes his takes on the toughest topics in sports. It's always smack-off season with the Jim Rome Show right here on CBS Sports Network.
And tonight at Red Rock, it's going to be the Randy and Rhino show starting at about 9 o'clock. Crack open a cold one and join Rhino and Randy for whatever you want
Remember,
to join us for.
Rhino and Randy show.
Right. No.
It's got to really hurry. Boy, it sure does.
Kick saving a beauty on the 7-pin. And Butcher Simonson perfect through 5. Check this out. Think there's any rotation on that ball? All right. Now Marshall Kent, spare 3-bagger. Uh-oh.
Near split. 9-pin stands.
That one really broke loose in the back part of the lane.
Six shows a year ago, 4th in earnings for Kent. The 7th seed here. 2019 has not been his kind. Anderson looking for redemption. Has got a 10-pin.
Good shot there, Andrew.
The mark for Kent.
I'm thinking of a nickname for Andrew Anderson. So, like, do you like Andy Anderson better?
Sure.
How about Drew Anderson?
Also fine. We need something better than that. We gotta be more
No, I
creative.
mean, okay, I'll work on it.
Okay. Get back. It's Anderson. And it's a strike, all 10 back.
That a boy.
Come on.
Trying to get some positive energy going here. Marshall. Wow. Good looking shot, 10-pin stand. He told us last night he's practiced so hard, a lot of video work. His confidence level was sky high entering qualifying. here at the PBA Tour Finals.
A little late reaction on that shot there, and I think that's what caused the ringing 10.
There's a 10, midway point. Group 2 qualifying game 3 from Las Vegas. Our qualifying rolls on for the PBA Tour Finals in Las Vegas. Time now, Randy, for the track technique with Jacob Buttriff.
Yeah, let's take a look at how unique this young man is, and it starts with how he rolls his wrist up underneath the bowling ball. Check this out right there. Don't try that at home, folks. And then that rotation is just massive. Now we're going to take a look at what he does with his feet. I want you to watch the end of this as he starts sliding into the foul line. Ball goes past his ankle, and the foot keeps going like he's bowling on roller skates. That is amazing.
So many unique aspects of the approach and delivery of Jacob Buttriff, the lefty. 5:03, the 2-game qualifying count. Simonson behind him. 4:43. It's Group 2. Buttriff, Simonson, Anderson, Kent. Group 1 is Belmonte, Tackett, Prather, and Bill O'Neill. And E.J. Tackett, the overall leader through 2 games. Simonson blisters the rack.
He's one of the best on tour for a reason. It's amazing at that young of an age that he's as mentally strong as he is. It's just incredible.
Wants a re-rack. Chris Marshall.
Well, you've done everything. Your carry's been lousy. What's going through your head? What are you going to try and do?
I talked to Jim a little bit to break. I think I'm going to make a little move left and kind of soften up and just try to create a different angle in the pocket. But, I mean, at this point, I feel like I've tried so many things, so I might have to do something crazy.
Put your finger on. Too long, too short, too much angle, not enough. What's going on?
A little bit of all the above, feels like. But I think if anything, I might be going too long, and so I might need to just get the ball a little earlier.
All right, good luck.
So thanks.
Back to the pretty guys in the booth.
Oh, thanks, Chris. We appreciate that. All 10 back for Simonson. So something crazy, Randy. He mentioned a moment ago with Chris. What might he try? What else can you do at this point?
Well, and I think Marshall was spot on. The Jim that he was referring to is tour rep Jim Callahan, but oh my. When his ball goes too long down the lane with that much power and speed, it's not going to strike. It's not going through the pins the right way. So he needs the ball to start reading a little bit sooner to smooth out that down lane reaction. Simonson, perfect through 7. Buttriff finally missing, and it was only due to a stone 9.
Heard that fan reaction a moment ago. Anderson still trying to find that groove.
Well, he looks like he's found a little something.
I hope you were watching, Michael.
Single pin conversion, no problem there for Buttriff. A hometown hero, originally from Vegas. A lot of family and friends, he told us last night, would be here. Two titles, his second full year. In 2018, leading the PBA Tour Player of the Year honors for the youngster from Michigan.
Doesn't like it, yeah.
That's why. Missed the 1-3 pocket, but still 9-pin down.
And that's the shot where it looks like he just gets a little quick at the bottom, doesn't catch it all, and then the ball skates like it's hydroplaning.
Back to Marshall. Wow. Looked comfortable there, didn't he?
Yeah, a little 17 pilot, bomber pilot's hairdo. He's got that old school kind of game, real high backswing, you know, and just kind of down and in player. It's
Absolutely.
Hard not to like it.
Central casting with that.
Yeah, it's hard not to like it.
Former Rookie of the Year, Marshall Kent. Felt so ready to win here in Vegas. In searching for the pocket. And he crosses over. Could have been a lot worse. Stands with just a 10-pin here.
Now, Simonson, this guy's definitely in predator mode.
Is he ever? Front 7 already, looking for the front 8. Continue perfection. Simo, how about it? No, sir.
3, 6, 9, 10.
A lot up.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not a right-hander's favorite spare to shoot at. You're supposed to say, why is that, Randy?
Why is that, Randy?
I don't know this sport. I have no idea. It's because of the back pin, the 9 pin. Yeah. What?
Not easy to cover, but does find all 4. 3, 6, 9, 10. Backup ball.
Now it makes sense. I couldn't see it in my monitor. He threw a backup
Look
ball at this.
At this shot.
Is that incredible, people? Oh,
we know
my
he can do
goodness.
it. We didn't know he pulled off here today, and he did.
Oh, my goodness. And he's got
that is awesome.
He's got such a good look hooking it traditionally, from, with what a right-hander would do, right to left. I wonder what would happen if he threw a backup ball on his fill shot. Uh-oh. All right. It looked like he looked up, and he still got away with it. High-fiving the fans. He's always cordial with everyone. Very likable young man. Some, every now and then, from time to time, call him the lumberjack.
Do you call him that?
I don't. I call him Simo.
I call him good. Really good. Anderson. His foundation frame of this game, a qualifying. All 10 down.
Come on.
Max score, Jacob Buttriff, 268.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah, and again, when you're 60 back and the guy that's leading doesn't slow down for you, it's going to be kind of hard to catch up. And it's only a 4-game qualifier. Simonson can shoot 276 and pick up a little ground, but 1 game to go, it may be
I got to roll
insurmountable.
one time, right?
The 9th for Kent. 10 pin, no dice. Just hasn't had a look. There's a 10. There's the mark in the 9th frame.
I don't know what to try.
This is 3rd game of qualifying.
Marshall Kent and Anderson could actually tie for 3rd.
And a 218 in his 3rd game. Following a 170 and 235 in games 1 and 2 of qualifying.
Trouble on that lane. He looked like he set it early, and the ball grabbed the lane immediately, going through the nose, leaving the 310 baby split. Marshall Kent, a spare, and he will be in 3rd by a pin.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, not so fast.
Yeah. Trying to get a score real quick.
4-10 split at the end of Marshall Kent's game here.
If he
Simo with a baby split here. Back up again, there it is.
Beautiful.
The backup ball, 2nd time.
You think he's been practicing and working on that?
Yes, he has. That is sweet.
We have a tie between Marshall Kent and Andrew Anderson.
So 207, 200, 216, 3 games for Kent so far. 255 for Simonson.
Yeah.
Pick up his 3rd game. Here's Buttriff.
Yeah. So Kent and Anderson tied with 1 game to go. Buttriff is going to increase his lead. Simonson 255. It's going to be Buttriff, Simonson, And then Anderson and Kent tied for third and fourth with 1 to play. That'll be our last game on this telecast today. Don't forget, 3 more live shows tomorrow. Starting at what time, Dave?
Noon Pacific, 3 in the East.
No.
I'm telling you, that's the story.
Okay, I'm buying in. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, my friend. 3 Eastern.
3 Eastern.
Yeah. Buttrick being the 260s, he will add a few more sticks to his lead. Remember, he had a 60-pin lead going in, and now it's going to go to 73 pins. So he's got a 73-pin lead for the stepladder finals with a game to go.
268, third game of qualifying. Our Hammer Tough spare replays. Got to be Anthony Simonson in the 8th frame. Randy, the backup ball. This is incredible.
And he made the baby split doing this. Wow.
Did it twice, you're right.
I mean, he got really lucky to make that. He got some good pin action, but he made the baby split like he's been doing it his whole life.
Game 3 for Group 2 qualifying in the books, and Buttrick is the man so far here in Vegas. Group 1, Game 3, still to come. So much great history on the PBA Tour here at Red Rock Lanes. Group 2 standings after 3. Buttrick, wow, look at that lead, 73 pins. Kent and Anderson are tied, 623 through 3 games of qualifying. Now Group 1, Tackett, Prather, Belmonte, O'Neill, about to tee it up here in Vegas. EJ Tackett, the 2-game leader. Followed by O'Neill. Belmonte and Prather. Chris Prather needed some answers. See if he got those in his brief time off between games of qualifying. We're about to find out how this unfolds. Buttrick, the lone lefty, spectacular through 3. Tackett starts this game and qualifying again for Group 1.
Yeah, on that slick lane 5, it's been the tightest lane of the 4 lanes.
Jason Belmonte. He's 35 years old and an absolute legend. World's best player. Back in the lanes. That looks better. The defending champ, a good start to this game of qualifying.
Chris Barnes, you watched the guys warm up. You watched the game before this group. What's your take, and what do you see going on out there?
Well, EJ looked pretty comfortable. I think he hasn't had much trouble, even though Anthony was, considerably far left of him. Billy had a couple shots get away from him. I think as long as he gets a good start, though, he's back on the same pair again. And so I would expect more of the same overall from Billy.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris Prather needs a turnaround story here. That's a good start.
We need to try to create some momentum going into the stepladder finals. O'Neill, 81-pin lead over Belmonte.
Nine pin.
Unfriendly.
Interesting to chat with Bill last night about his game and adjustments as he gets older. In the mid-lane transition. Rev rate, ball speed, and how things change as you get older, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you heard EJ Tackett when Chris interviewed him. Chris asked him, how do you create all that power being a small guy? And he said with his legs. Well, what's the first thing that goes when you get older? Your legs. You lose your legs, you lose your leverage position, as we get older, it's tougher to create the power. I mean, I remember when I was a youngster, and it would literally take me 4 or 6 shots to get loose. And when I stopped bowling the PBA 50 tour, it would take me 10 minutes to get loose.
Things do change, partner, no question. It's a 10-pin for Belmo. We had a nice chat last night with Belmo about his branding. The documentary will be coming out in the near future.
That was great. Yeah, it was
fully funded. Pretty cool to talk about his attire and the digital platform he's developing called Belmo TV. I mean,
guy's a marketing genius.
Really is.
And he
very
really,
sharp businessman.
Yeah. But the best story that I liked was the fact that his wife made her flight from Sydney to the States within 2 minutes. There's some form that they have to fill out. I can't remember the name of the form. I probably should have wrote it down. But anyway, so the drive from New South Wales to Sydney Airport, I think, is like 4 hours.
Okay.
4.5 hour drive. She gets there, and she has to fill out this form. It's basically like a customs for us. There she is right there in the white. So she gets to the airport, and they ask her, do you have your form? And she goes, oh, my gosh, I don't. And they said, well, this will go one of 2 ways. Either it'll be approved now, or it'll take 72 hours. And finally, the gate agent said, hey, you've been approved. Let's go. You got 2 minutes.
At the last possible moment. How about that? Glad she made the flight. Glad she's here to watch Jason compete in Vegas. Prather. Looking good. That's better. Belmo and Chris.
Well, Jason, what are you doing different from round one?
Yeah, well, look, the left pair is considerably different from each other. The right lane hooks so much more than the left lane. So coming to this pair, I didn't really know which way it was going to be. We didn't get a whole lot of practice, but it feels a lot more like the left lane, which is fine as long as they're both the same. I'm just really not making great shots out there. It's it's been a quick turnaround time from Portland. I think I need a good night's sleep tonight. EJ and Billy have certainly adapted a lot better, and that's something that I'm going to have to learn to get better at, is when I'm not feeling really comfortable out on the lanes, how to still throw my better shots, because today has been it's been pretty disappointing. But with this format, still alive to fight another day, where I've got to come back and really make better shots and put a lot more pressure on these guys.
Live and learn and advance.
That's how it goes.
Back to you guys in the booth.
Chris, even for the best in the world, you're learning on the job. And the good news is, with qualifying leading to the stepladder finals, there is time at the PBA Tour finals to get back in the game. Third game, Group 1 qualifying. Ringing 10-pin for EJ.
Interesting start to their third game, this group. Chris Prather starts at the front 4. Tackett, the only player to have doubled. Belmo's still looking for his first. Could get it here. And does.
Much better for Belmo. Ten-pin, no worries there for EJ. EJ is getting married in November. Congrats, EJ Tackett. An exciting time for Ina's fiance.
Yeah, from our first show to this show.
Right after the U.S. Open in North Carolina. So we'd love to have the wedding present be a U.S. Open championship.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Belmo. In a groove.
Well, he's going to need to stay in one if he's going to catch Tackett and O'Neill. Let's see if Prather's found a little something. Got the front 4.
Off to a good start. Off to the front 5. Yes. Besties Bowl today.
That's starting to look better. Had 5 shots that look pretty much identical, so that's always a good sign.
Back to O'Neill.
Hey, Chris Barnes, Randy Peterson here. Prather is gotten off to his best start, and something looks different in our monitors. Have you picked up anything from watching him these first 5 frames?
Yeah, pretty. I think for the most part, he's just gone to slower speed. He's softened things up a little bit. He's rolling it, and he's just found a little rhythm, which he didn't have earlier. We'll try and get with him here in the second half of the game and talk to him and see what he's seeing.
Okay, thanks, JC.
O'Neal, you bet. Feeling it now. Bill Tost last night, up and down career at this point. A lot of ups still. Prather will hear with Chris Barnes hopefully in a moment to find out how he's turned things around. More on the way. Time out for our Columbia 300 fun fact. The 8 players in this year's Barbasol PBA Tour Finals have combined for 64 titles, 18 majors, 6 Player of the Year awards, and 4 Rookie of the Year honors. How about that? What a field. 8 of the best in the world. Chris and Chris, take it away.
Well, you looked pretty uncomfortable in round 1, bordering on somewhat irritated. What's changed? What did you do different for this round?
Well, the first thing I did was I went and took a nap in between the games. And then I talked to Jim Callahan a little bit, and I told him that I felt like my rev rate wasn't high enough to hook it with like EJ and Belmo, but it wasn't low enough to play straight where like Andrew and Bill are. So I felt very trapped where like if I got on top of Andrew, it wasn't going to stay there, and if I got in with EJ, it wasn't going to get up the hill. So I've just been trying to dial in the ball speed, and the one shot that I've missed this game, I threw it fast.
All right, well, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
So clearly it's a power nap that you need between
naps are always
games of
good.
qualifying.
Naps are always a good thing.
I wonder how many alarms he set on his iPhone for that. And Jim Callahan, ball rep.
Tour
Getting
rep.
some coaching, tour rep.
Yeah,
excuse me.
they've changed their title since last year. It's like calling.
So the advice was good.
It's like you can't say bartender anymore. It's mixologist.
I've never said that once. Don't plan to. Belmo. All 10 back.
This ball goes through the pins pretty hard, as does this man.
Seven. Attack it. Works on a strike. Overall leader after 2 games. Down to the 3rd. Buttriff outstanding Group 2. Big lead of 73 pins. Record-setting career for Belmo. Incredible. And really no end in sight. Only 35 years old.
Oh!
7 pin.
The 10 gets kicked out like Jackie Chan, and the 7-pin's still standing. Again, when you create that much angle, there's going to be times when the pin carry is going to be suspect.
Ryder feeling better.
Yeah, that was a pretty good shot there for ring 10. Watch this crazy carry. So steep through the front. I mean, that was like 23 to like 3.
No worries. 7 pin for Belmo. $100,000 that came with that. PBA playoffs champion win. It was not a tour title, but it was a big check.
Oh, don't cause that controversy.
Helping.
Don't
fund.
stir that up.
I'm just reporting the news.
I understand.
I didn't create the controversy.
No, yeah, that's
You're doing
very controversial. That didn't count for a title.
Wow. Bucket. For Bill O'Neal.
Well, O'Neal is letting a couple of the other players back in this. Ball never grabbed the lane. And after after.
Looking for help on the 10, won't quite get it for Prather.
Yeah, that's three of those in a row now after starting with a 5-bagger.
Nice conversion for O'Neal.
Yeah, he covers the bucket perfectly.
He's not happy, you can see that.
Chris Barnes, what do you see going on with Bill O'Neal and E.J. Tackett?
Well, right now, actually on this left lane, there's a little more early hook, and so Bill's gone to getting it up in the air a little bit. That last shot, he just didn't catch it on the up. They got it on the lane a little bit smoother and went long on him, and it caused the bucket. I expect this one will get the full business.
You expected that one to get full attention at the bottom of the swing?
It did. He still didn't catch it quite as much as he wanted to, and just looked like he maybe lost a little bit of rhythm on a commercial break, as we've seen it happen to a lot of players. EJ, on the other hand, seems like he's in pretty good rhythm here. Carey hasn't been great, but he's making great shots. He's going to be tough to beat down the stretch here.
Thank you, sir. Here's a guy right now thinking about striking out and making the two leaders think about it.
Strikes in 5 of his last 6 frames. For the great Jason Belmonte on fire again.
The late, great Billy Whaley coined this phrase, hit him thin and watch him spin. Yeah, EJ suffering with a little lack of carry. You see this guy right here? His passport doesn't need a picture anymore.
He's that famous?
I read that.
Wide success.
I read that somewhere.
He's that good, that's for sure. Ninth frame. Game 3 qualifying.
That was a violent collision when the ball hit the 1-3 pocket and the 6-pin flew around the 10.
Dirty.
Ringing 10-pin for Belmo.
Watch how fast the second pin to the right goes around the 10. Woo!
There's 10-pin, 206 in game 1, 226 game 2 of qualifying. Trying to continue to climb the ladder here, leading into step ladder play. Dave, Randy, and Chris, couple Hall of Famers by my side. Great to have Chris lane level, providing our live lane level interviews. PBA Tour Finals for the first time. That's tremendous access.
That looked pretty good there. It looked like he gave that one his full attention, and then ball reaction down lane was much better. Watch this now. Look at the down lane reaction. There we go. O'Neal max score 245, Belmo 239, Prather 257, Tackett 237. Love how Bill tries to keep his chin up through the approach.
The 8 seed, cross the deck for the 10.
We went to a roll-off last week in one of our matches, and O'Neal gets up, and the ball hit the pocket kind of like this, and both the 7 and the 10 were standing up, Dave, and the pin came across and took both of them out.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Oh, thank you very little. 246 with a spare for Prather. O'Neal 245. If he takes it off the sheet, meaning strikes out. Yeah, a little wide.
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible.
Not a very good shot for Bill. 234 with a spare.
9-pin mark. 246 for Prather. Clearly that nap really helped him after 206 and 193 in his first 2 games of qualifying. Nice effort for Prather. 4-pin O'Neal.
Listen, when we go to break, I'm going to catch me a little nap.
And just come back whenever you're ready. Chris and I will just keep talking.
I'll text you. Barnes can fill in for me. I mean, he's got this covered.
You guys are both awesome.
Wait, what? Who do you like better? Who do you like better?
Don't make me.
No, who do you like
Don't
better?
put me in that position.
Okay, fine.
I like you both the same.
Okay.
Belmo.
Whoa.
Trip 10.
Now that's big because, you know, he's got an opportunity to pick up a couple if Tackett doesn't strike on his next ball. But really, that biggie was that 9th frame for Belmonte. Oh, man. Yeah, Belmonte's 10-pin in the 9th is huge because if he struck there and then strikes out, he could pick up 20 pins. And now, yeah, no. So now he's not going to pick up anything. In fact, he's going to lose a few to O'Neal. He'll pick up 2 on Tackett.
227. EJ Tackett takes care of the 9-pin there. The overall leader after 2 rounds of qualifying, 2 games, 267, 253 scores. And 229 for Belmo, his best so far of the 3 games of qualifying. Great bowling from Vegas and Red Rock Lanes. It's here on CBS Sports Network. The PBA and Slap It On have created custom vinyl wall decals of some of your favorite PBA players. The large vinyl decals readily attach to most smooth, flat surfaces and can be easily removed and relocated. Action shots of more than 30 PBA Tour players and legends are available. So head to PBA.com and click on the rotating Slap It On banner. Add to order your favorite player. O'Neal, Tackett, Belmo, Prather, lanes 5, 6, 7, and 8. As we go back to Group 1, Game 4 of qualifying here in Vegas, PBA Tour Finals.
First time Bill O'Neal's seen this pair, 5 and 6.
Pretty good start, I'd say, for the first time. 747 is 3-game total, tied with Tackett. On top of the Group 1 leaderboard in qualifying. The legend Belmo is back.
You don't see him fall off balance very often, but he did on that shot. I'm not sure why, if it was an approach thing or if it was a timing thing. That man rarely falls off the shot.
A perfect start to his 4th game of qualifying. Next, we'll see Group 2 in their 4th game. Buttriff, Simonson, Anderson, and Kent. And Buttriff leads by a bunch. Let's go back to Chris.
Yeah, Randy, it looks like Bill has had to go through. He looked at 3 different balls in practice, and he ended up going to a chaos, a lower RG ball with a little quicker cover. First time on that lane, like you mentioned, and he's had to flip around a little bit. What he was doing before didn't make the corner at all on this left pair.
What ball is that EJ's using?
I believe it's a Jackal Ghost. It's an asymmetrical ball, a little bigger, lets his ball pick up in the mid lane.
That's right, because he had mentioned something about going to a bigger engine.
Yeah, as if the hand wasn't big enough engine. He's now he's got even more.
And the ball that Prather's using?
It's the new idol. He's basically just controlling that with speed. That's symmetrical, low RG, a little quick. He's got some cover on that too, but his control of ball speed is allowing him to do what we've seen him do all year long.
.747 for both O'Neal and Tackett, and they start this game perfect through 2. Belmonte almost out of it with a game to go. He's 86 pins back. I don't see him catching the top 2 guys. So it looks like your number 1 seed is going to come down between O'Neal and EJ Tackett.
4 game scratch totals for each player will be used to determine the seeding for a separate stepladder final in each group. As we move on to the PBA Tour title here in Vegas.
Yeah, it is a great cover from Chris Barnes when he said, hey, O'Neill, first time on this pair. He went through 3 balls in practice. And I'll tell you what, Chris, early on, he looks pretty good, especially on that left lane.
He's feeling it. Attack it. Another good shot.
Yes, it was.
We talked about EJ getting married right after the U.S. Open. That's one thing that's eluded Jason Belmonte in his great career. In the U.S. Open.
That last shot that Belmonte threw almost looked like he tried to roll it end over end more. Take a look at what his hand does on the way out. Yeah, that looked like it had maybe a pinch more roll to it, but I mean, people think that, especially the haters of the two-handed no-thumb style, is that all you do is put your 2 fingers in it and then chuck it down on the lane. But if you think about it, with a higher rev rate and higher speed, I would think that the release point would be that much more critical. Chris, what say you?
Yeah, axis rotation is paramount, and that's what separates Jason from all the rest of them, is his touch, speed control, and his ability to change his axis rotation to control shape off the back of the lane. Same thing we talked about EJ earlier. One of the things that set these guys apart is they change the shapes through their change of axis rotations. And right now, actually looks like EJ needs to get a little bit more around it. It's starting to get a little bit flat on him.
And so by getting a little more around it, the ball would continue a little bit more when it comes off the end of the pattern.
Yeah, it's normally not a big problem for EJ with that much rev rate. If he can get it to the pocket, it knocks him over. One of the rare times he flat 10s ever.
Yeah, it's a little soft through the pocket. Tell you what, Chris Prather's last strike was kind of impressive.
He's thrown a few of them that have gotten way further right than what he was playing earlier and actually made it back. His touch looks like it's finally dialed in a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely looks much more comfortable since he went to a little softer speed.
Prather. Not quite there in that 1-3 pocket. 2-4 up. Back to Bill O'Neill, co-leader after 3. And he shreds the rack. All 10 back into the pit. Exciting times for Chris Prather and his wife Ashley. We told you about are building a house. They have their current house under contract, so things are really happening for their family in Chicagoland.
I asked him if he was going to have a pool, and he goes, we have a pool and a pond. The pond will be good for you, Randy.
Pond will be good for you. Pool pond. We get 10 pin for O'Neill. Anytime we can get Caddyshack on the show, I'm good. I'm a happy guy.
O'Neill, the really nice shot after 4 in a row. Ring 10. And now Belmonte. No ring 10. Just not enough frames, I don't think, my friend, for Belmonte to get anywhere out of where he's at, which is currently 3rd. And I mean, now it's just a battle of 3rd and 4th between Belmo and Prather. And really, the only advantage that gives you is it gives you choice of starting lane and where you end up finishing that game. Keep in mind that the last game in that stepladder finals is a race to 2 points. So it'll be a 2-game match. You win two points or 2 games, you're the winner of that group. If there's a tie, we go to a roll-off.
2-frame roll-off, 9th and 10th. 5th for EJ.
That strike was really loud in my headset.
Turn down your headset volume.
Oh, that's
because
why.
he
That's-
is just crunching through the rack.
Oh, gosh, I can still hear
And
him.
those pins have no chance. Prather.
He hates it.
That's why I was way wide right.
Yeah. Looked like he missed it off his hand.
1-2-7 up. Super light hit.
Yeah, as soon as it got about halfway down the lane, he knew it.
EJ Tackett still looking good. Great start to this game of qualifying for Bill O'Neill. Perfect. Was perfect into the 5th frame, the 9 spare. After the front 4. He has been very solid all day in qualifying. Prather's been up and down. Up on that shot.
Hey, Dave, I got an idea. Why don't you take us to break?
Excellent idea. I like the way you think. Barbasol PBA Tour Finals from Red Rock Lane, rolling on here on CBS Sports Network. All right, Randy, time for our Barbasol close shave of the day. Chris Prather is the subject. 3rd frame across the deck. Little tap on the tee.
That was a pocket 7-10. The messenger went across, took the 7 out, and then it was the Chihuahua ankle biter into the 10 pin. Now listen, I have to go back for a second because when we were at break, Mike Edwards said that the only match that mattered right now, or the only 2 guys that mattered right now was Belmo and Prather for 3rd and 4th, and he pointed out to me that O'Neill and Tackett are tied and they're bowling for 1st and 2nd, and I realized that, and I didn't mean it to sound like what they were doing isn't important because it is. And as soon as Mike flips that scoreboard around, I'm going to give you an update as to what the scores are. So O'Neill's at 229 right now. Tackett's at 218. Can go to 228 if he strikes in the 7th. Belmonte's got spare 5 bag. And Prather an open. He's at 186, if I can tell by Mike's chicken scratching on the score sheet. So there, you're up to date. Dave?
Well done.
Dave,
Thanks.
take it away.
Thanks. 4-pin. Bill O'Neill. Co-leader with EJ Tackett. You see the numbers at 747 each through 3 games. Now to the 4th game of qualifying.
Belmonte can shoot 290, but he's 86 pins behind Tackett and O'Neill.
Been red hot in this game. 7th frame. All 10 back. 60 feet to success. Impressing himself, Jason Beaumont.
What took you so long?
Got it working at the right time.
I've been waiting a year to hear that.
I know.
You jerk. Make me wait this long for that. It's the greatest line in bowling.
Ah, shucks, thanks.
All right. Maybe not the greatest, but it's pretty good.
7th for Prather. EJ Tackett, for 3rd straight year of being in the finals of the PBA Tour Finals. Got a win, got a loss, both against Belmo. Won in 2017, lost last year in suburban Detroit to the great Jason Belmonte. Tackett has been outstanding in qualifying. Belmo, some work to do.
EJ Tackett to take the lead over O'Neill with a strike here.
Looks for a 4-bagger in the 8th.
Whoa. That was a can opener.
Belmo, a strike. Chris with EJ.
Well, you had left a couple of 5-10s there in the middle. What did you do? Can you share with us what the big time?
Yeah, the ball just got a little too forward and got a little flat, so all I did was just tuck my pinky, cheat at one, and try to back my ball speed off and get around a little bit more to the ball and make the corner.
Great shots. Got you back to the lead.
Thank you.
Back to the pretty guys.
Guys, can I take a re-rack, please? Yeah.
Dave, he must be talking about you.
That's fine. I just got
Either
back
that
in
or
my
he
eye.
needs a
He
new
said guys.
or he needs a new script for his glasses.
He said guys, plural. Lovely access this year, PBA Tour Finals. EJ giving us the very latest on his adjustments. Tomorrow at 3 Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Right back here on the lanes in Vegas. More of the Barbasol PBA Tour Finals. See who will earn this year's title.
Is it on May now?
The 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Are you going to be here for that?
I am going to be here for that.
Oh, okay.
I'm here all weekend with you, buddy.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Crown a champion again. After a brief break. Belmo. All 10 back.
Well, he's doing all he can do, but it's too late. And you know, O'Neal and Tackett are they're banging heads right now. And O'Neal takes a 1-pin lead with a strike in the 9th.
Started this game of qualifying tied up, and what a game this has been. Game 4 qualifying. Right down possibly to the last shot.
Well, Chris is going to take on Belmonte in that opening game of the stepladder tomorrow. But keep in mind who knocked Jason Belmonte out of the playoffs. It was Chris Prather. Now, Tackett can strike out and shut out O'Neal. Look out.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I thought that was bound for the channel for a second. He missed that one way right.
Good shot, EJ.
Realizes that wasn't good.
He got it into the no-fly zone. Yep, they're slick out there. Maybe another inch to the right, and it was 0. And it's frustrating when you ace as many shots as EJ does, and he does throw a ton of really, really good shots, and then all of a sudden you throw that shot, and you're like, where the hell did that come from?
What happened? He was working on a 4-bagger too. But he converts a spare. Think about that one for a while.
Hey, he's looked much better this second 2 games than he did the first 2.
Six strikes in the game for EJ Tackett. Had to hurry up too and miss the mark. Another 1-3 pocket.
Yeah, I think that ball kind of overstayed its welcome, didn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I think he's a little surprised. Obviously, the one shot wasn't very good there, but that one he got around it, and it's something he does feel-wise. He'll get a little bit further left and get a ball over it to make sure it hooks. And sometimes when there's this much oil down lane, it just doesn't make it. That left lane is a lane you can't do that to on all the time.
A 205 for Chris Prather. His 4th game of qualifying. 206, 193, 246, 205. His 4 game scores. And a 234 for EJ Tackett. First through 267, 253, and 227. Belmo on a major roll. Another strike.
And, you know, Chris made a great point earlier when he talked about Jason Belmonte's ball reaction actually getting better as the lanes transitioned and or burned up. There's so many new phrases and slogans that the guys use out here, but and you could see it in Jason Belmonte's ball reaction. All right, spare here for You see the scoreboard, Mike. Spare here for Bill O'Neill. And he would need 7 on his fill shot to be the number 1 seed.
9 straight, Belmo, another one. Strike streak. O'Neill got it.
Yeah, 7 or better. O'Neill will be your number 1 seed going into the stepladder finals tomorrow, followed by E.J. Tackett, Belmonte, and Prather.
What a game for Belmo. The streak ends with a 10-pin, but his best score in qualifying, 289.
Oh boy. All right, that's 8.
And a 236 for O'Neill. 4 games, Group 1 qualifying complete for the PBA Tour Finals. More on the way. Group 1 qualifying. Final standings. O'Neill by 2 pins over E.J. Tackett. Belmo with a great 4th game of qualifying up to 950. Chris Prather 850 in 4th place. Who's next? Group 2. Buttriff, Simonson, Anderson, and Marshall Kent. See how they respond after their break, how the lanes break down. Game 4 qualifying Group 2 about to unfold here in Vegas. Here we go. Your Group 1 recap, sir, is?
Well, I think it was just the steadiness of O'Neill and Tackett, and then it just came down to the 10th frame of that last game.
Waiting for the machine to recycle here, and then we can resume with Group 2. Buttriff, 771.
What kind of, sorry, what
3
what
games.
Did you see the look on Marshall? What the heck was he? Was that his zen? What was he doing
I think that
there?
was some intense mental preparation. Buttriff gets us going. Final game qualifying 7-pin for the lefty, who bowls a lot. As Chris pointed out in the meeting last night.
Yeah, Chris had a great story about how Jacob. Well, you know what? I'm going to let Chris tell that when we come to him here in a minute.
I bring that up with the graphic of all the regional titles for Buttriff. Such a young guy. Anderson.
Ooh, I like the shape
got
of
a
that.
strike. That looked good.
Hey, Chris, talk about the story that you told us the meetings yesterday about Jacob bowling everything.
Oh, well, for sure. I think of all the guys around, he bowls regionals. He bowls 300 game jackpots. He bowls clear pin sweepers. This guy bowls everything everywhere and loves nothing more than just to throw and compete and win again, which he's been doing a lot of.
Yeah, but what about the story about you guys were, was it national or it was the Bowler's Journal?
Oh, we were bowling the Weber Cup.
You're bowling the Weber Cup.
We bowl the Weber Cup. We get done with the day. He drags his ball out of Mandalay Bay. It's about 1.5 miles to the front. Drags it over to South Point. Goes all the way up, and drags him there, and then shoots 825 again, or 830 or whatever it was, and then comes back and bowls the next day again. It's
well, it's a long walk to get to the plaza at South Point as well.
Yeah.
Although with the BJ wasn't in the plaza though, it was in the regular center, correct?
Yeah, in the regular center,
Right,
which is not closer.
But still, it's
necessarily.
still a good hike.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a young guy. He loves bowling. He's enthusiastic.
Hey, the point is, when you're young like that, Dave, you can do
just
it. Yeah.
got to do it.
Yeah, if you're
A
me,
passion for the game. I love it.
if you're my age, you need a caddy. Yeah. A cart, Chris says.
Double wood. Simonson, no problem to it.
Oh, that Barnes guy. His poor wife, Linda.
Simonson well behind Buttriff. Second spot qualifying Group 2. Look out.
So, Chris, now right out of the gate, Anderson is hooking it. First shot looked pretty good. That shot, not so much.
Yeah, I think he's just fishing a little bit. And at this point, it's all learning. They're going to be in the first match tomorrow. And so it's figuring out something that he might be able to go to that might help him run this ladder.
How much of the burn, them, they started on fresh, then 2 more games after them. Now they're on the ultimate burn, if you will. How much is that affecting or dictating what he's doing with the bowling ball now?
Well, as you said earlier, his ball was pretty flat down lane already, and he was using a lot of shell, and so it's almost impossible for him to do that at this point without throwing it slower. And I think even then, once he moved left, he had the ball down, and then he had to really gear down to let his ball get some time to make it around.
Third for Anderson.
He's curving it now.
Coming off the open.
Or is he hooking it?
I'm going to say he's hooking.
I'm going to go with hooking it. I'm going to go with hooking
Me
it
too.
now, yeah, because it's real late. And Jacob Buttriff hooking it nicely. Let's go down to Chris Barnes.
Anthony, so the burning question is, you're down a bunch. You got 7 frames left to go. Are you going to go backup ball?
No, I'm not. I'm going to stay on my side. I think bar action's pretty good. The biggest deal here, I think, is just staying in second. Not letting any of these guys behind me catch up. And, we'll take it in tomorrow and just use the knowledge we have and see where it takes us.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
The hard-hitting journalism you've come to love. Back to you guys in the booth.
It's good work over there, Barnesy. Thank you.
I'm going to change Chris's name to Peter Parker.
All day, this young man's been comfortable.
Hey, Chris, nobody's catching him out of this group, are they?
No chance at all that these guys are going to run him down now. He only needed, I think, 214 or so to make it anyway.
Yeah.
And now it's less now that Anthony has a miss.
Do you think the players are the guy I'm going to have to beat?
I would imagine so, but at this point, I'm sure that Bill and the rest of those guys are focused on trying to get out of their group and what they have to do to get out of these things. But yeah, at this point, it sure looks like this is Jacob's group to win or lose. He seems to have the most control of his own fate.
This game 4 Group 2 position round. The Group 1 positioning round is wrapped up. O'Neill, Tackett, Belmo, and Prather in that order, leading into the Group 1 semifinal step ladder. Broadcast. Good bounce back there for Simonson.
Yeah, he's really deep now on both lanes, and he has to be because there's been some play, and these lanes have broken down to force these players to the left. But we've seen Anthony do some crazy things and some pretty spectacular things, like throw it halfway down the lane in the air.
2 backup ball spares. That was incredible. The lone lefty has been in cruise control.
Wow. I think that's the second one of those today.
Stand up and fight.
Unless it was our last show where he left one. Do you remember, Chris?
There's some major power through the pocket, 9-pin. Anderson, guys, has a 10-pin.
It was on the last show.
I'm like 50%
Okay, so
now.
it's still the same day. At least I got the day right.
Chris and Andrew.
Andrew, I'm really proud of you digging into your versatility tricks here today, but you've gone away from playing up the lane. What's going on?
I just can't I can't do what I want to do straight motion-wise, and coming to this fair after Belmore and Chris both showing me kind of a really good picture of how to play it in, I figured I might as well give it a run. I have a feeling tomorrow on the step ladder that we're gonna be sliding pretty far left with Simo and Marshall and everybody. I don't think straight's the right idea for me anymore, so we're gonna try this for a while.
Thanks for the insight.
Well, CB, it's all about building toward the semifinals and trying to climb that ladder within your group. So today, a learning experience, but a lot of work to do in this group. Chasing Buttrick. Some fun for Marshall.
Yeah, a bit of a sarcastic hands in the air reaction from Marshall as he finally catches a little break. But Marshall right now could, a real nice 279 game and can still run down Simonson for second. 75 back, 279 pace. Simonson is at 181. Tall order, but still doable.
Ten pin, no worries.
Chris, if you were Anthony Simonson, what would you do now?
Well, he's talked about he wanted to be a little bit conservative. He's not going to take a lot of chances. He's going with his wheelhouse, just throwing it slow, and he's going to arc it in there. He's got to get in rhythm, though, and he's in big trouble right now. He really probably needs to move back to the right a little bit, shut his angles down just a little, take his chances with carry.
Well, 9 spare is way better than 2-8-10. And right now, with a miss here, he's going to be in the 160s. Again, remember, Marshall Kent is going at a 279 clip.
Try the backup ball again, not this time. Had been 2 for 2 on the backup ball spares, but the 10 pin still stands. And ooh, oh, careful. He's frustrated. Home stretch, Group 2, Game 4 qualifying. Position round here. As we wrap up, it's been a great day of bowling in Vegas. Group 1 leader Bill O'Neill, followed by E.J. Tackett, Belmonte, Prather, 3rd and 4th place. Buttrick missing that target. He didn't like it at all, did he?
Hated it.
His hand missed the 1-2 pocket.
He's bored right now. There's nobody pushing him. He's bored. He's like, man, this is a cakewalk. I've got no one on my tail. Let me just get this thing over with so I can grab the #1 spot.
Anderson up and down day, and that's way off again.
It's going to get worse.
On 210 and a 170, followed by 235 and 218 games. Buttrick across the lane.
Attaboy.
And he kicks out the 7 for a really nice split conversion spare. Nicely done by Jacob Buttrick.
3-7. And a nice conversion there for Jacob. And guys, they're making everything.
The answer for Anderson. You can call him the answer. That's a cool nickname.
The answer?
What do you think?
That's all right.
Well, it's been used. Sports, of course. Still pretty cool.
Who was the answer in hoops?
AI, right?
Wasn't it
Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson, yeah. Almost called him Alvin Iverson.
You did though.
You saved
it. Andrew Anderson gets all 10 down.
Big shot here for Mr. Simonson. As Marshall Kent is breathing down his neck. And I think he did exactly what Chris Barnes said, was he moved a little bit right and kind of backed his hand out a little bit and closed up his angles. But Marshall Kent still has a little something to say, but he's got to have them all. Well, now he needs help from Simonson.
Oh my gosh.
Marshall's never quite found the groove, hovering right around 200 for each of his first 3 games of qualifying here in Group 2. Simo's bowled well, but some troubles here.
Out.
The stretch run in the 2-8-10, the double wood, tough to contend with. As we saw his frustration a few moments ago. Marshall misses the 10.
Guess you're leaving
Whoa.
nothing. You're going to miss one.
Simonson gives him the gift right there, as you can see, 2-8-10, and then Marshall steps up and whiffs the 10 pin. You see the scoreboard, Mike thinks 246 max. Simonson if he misses this, back up. Watch
Here
it.
we go
Watch it.
again.
Oh, my.
Oh. So he's 2 for 4 in the qualifying with that backup spare attempt. Misses the 10 pin.
Marshall can still get to second now because Marshall could still shoot 246. Simonson is at 155. It's going to be worse than that.
2-10 split.
Wow, I thought for a minute that was Simonson that just threw that ball. I look up to the monitor and I see the same ball going down the lane. Another costly mistake for Marshall Kent. However, he can still get there, but he needs to cover the 210. And when I mean get there, he can still get the second.
And now kick across deck for the 10. Can't find it though. And he's in a tailspin right now.
Max scored 225, Simonson 155. He strikes spares out. That's only 70 pins difference. Kent trailing by 75. Buttroff's going to lock up the #1 seed for the stepladder finals tomorrow.
Get there.
And I didn't even look at Anderson, but you know what? Anderson could have shot 147. Anderson could have struck out for 234.
That won't happen. Does have a 10 pin there. As we head down to the final few frames of the last game of qualifying for Group 2. Group 1 leader Bill O'Neill, followed by Tackett, Belmonte, Brayton. Simonson crossing over. Will get 9. 10 pin still up.
All right, max score for Andrew now 214. Kent 224. Buttroff can shoot 228. Shot there.
Foundation strike for Andrew Anderson, keeping himself alive to the 3rd spot.
And for Simonson, max score if he makes this 165.
So we talk about the numbers and the positioning, and there's a 10 pin. He's excited about that spare. I want a grade from you, Randy, for this group. I'm going to break down these guys, how they've been, and what they've got to look forward to for the next round.
Man, you know, Buttroff's got a huge advantage being the only lefty on that side of the lane. Plus he's able to do what he likes to do. And so that's a big advantage for Jacob. And I think Jacob's the one that everybody's looking at to beat. Marshall Kent's bowled really, really well. He's missed some key spares, but he's hit the pocket a lot. His pin carry has not looked very good. Simonson looked really good, he looked pretty good for a couple of games, and then this storm that's hit him in the face. It's a ball change, and that's a really good thing for Anthony to have happen to him. And Anthony will secure that #2 seed. Marshall
So 4 versus 3, and then the winner versus 2, and climb the ladder.
Yeah.
Race of 2 points in the semifinals. Group 1 and Group 2 step ladders. Leading us to eventually the championship show and a PBA Tour title.
Well, he fought his way through it, and this is over. Tomorrow's a new day. Step ladder finals, less games. Oh. And 3rd and 4th will be Marshall Kent and Andrew Anderson, not necessarily in that order.
164 for Simonson.
Low score of the 4 games in qualifying for Anthony Simonson at 164. 205, 238, 255. Nice conversion from Marshall Kent. That was sweet. still very flustered. I doubt this guy's feeling much frustration. The lefty cruising with shots like that.
He's just out on an island. Well, if Anderson gets the first strike and good count,
better than I'm scoring.
could be your number 3 seed. And you're looking at your leader.
Wow. Shreds the rack again. A familiar sight in 4 games of qualifying for the lefty Jacob Buttriff. He's out of Arizona now, but originally from Las Vegas. Back home in front of family and friends. Reigning Player of the Year's got some work to do. Into the stepladder semifinals for Group 2. What a day of bowling for Jacob Buttriff. 227, 4th game of qualifying. After 237, 266, 268. And Anderson looking to wrap things up.
Marshall Kent is officially 3rd, Andrew Anderson 4th.
So Kent will be the 3 seed. And Anderson, number 4, heading into the stepladder semifinals. Here from Red Rock Lanes.
Oh, no. Get there. Good attempt. All right.
Game 4, Group 2. In the books now from Las Vegas.
The Hug Pickup.